Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspot, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you the Tottenham Roundtable. Even though it's a bit of a square on screen, it doesn't matter. I'm dyslexic. I'll get away with it. But look, you know, we are joined by co-host Jack, of course, Sean from Spurs Talk Show, and Brian Daigle. And we got a lot of topics to get to, and I no doubt we'll have a lot of varying different opinions as well. So, guys, I want you to also join in and get your opinions in the chat as we go through all the topics. Just a quick brief of what we're going through. You know, should we actually be praising Conte for the job he's done since he's come in? If we don't make top four, is that because of the wing-back situation? You know, what do we need? Look, Conte is not here to settle for getting top four. Conte wants trophies. So what do Tottenham need to give this guy over the summer to be able to catch the likes of Liverpool, Man City, because he wants the challenge? You know, and there's a lot more topics to get through. So look, we'll start getting through them. But first of all, we'd like to make sure, check in on everybody and see how they are, and also check in on the chat. Just quickly, I do apologize for the lack of streams over the last few days. My mother hasn't been well, so I've just been, you know, taking care of her and worrying and making sure she's all right. But she is on the mend, which is good. But Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Doing pretty good, Dave. I got to see Burnley grab 3 points, you know, make it even, you know, more difficult for, you know, Frank Lampard, see, you know, which players he's going to be blaming, you know, tomorrow after they don't get the result. I think it's against Chelsea that they're coming up against. Looking forward to that. And also looking forward to the juicy questions, like you were saying, Dave. I think it's definitely going to, I don't know if it's going to even inspire a lot of debate, but I think it's just going to have really good discussion and kind of just maybe have some questions maybe haven't been asked yet. Looking forward to it, Dave.
No, 100%. It's definitely going to be juicy, because I know Brian will sit one side, Sean will sit the other, and me, as usual, I'm going to sit somewhere comfortably on the fence. Hopefully I don't get a splinter on my arse. But look, you know, John, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear your mum's on the mend. You know, hope hope everything's okay with your family and stuff, mate. That's good news for Saturday evening. Apart from that, I'm good. Just getting ready for a busy weekend of football and busy evening of streaming with you guys, and it's going to be a fun evening. So come on, let's get to it.
It is an action-packed weekend across YouTube on all channels. Of course, game weekend, you know, it brings a hell of a lot of streams out, so it should be fun for everyone in the community. But we also have the one and only Daigle from Tottenham on tour. Daigle, how are you keeping, my man? Did you get them dishes nice and clean? Oh, you're on mute, Daigle.
Oh, sloppy, Brian. Sloppy.
You're not on mute. Maybe log out and log back in. Yeah. So just amateur hour here.
I feel like we could lip read him there. I feel like I was kind of lip reading him there, like on Sunday. I feel like I got some of that, but maybe
new segment to the Tottenham Roundtable, lip sync. That's what we're going to do. New segment. Here he is. We'll try again. Daigle.
Hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, my man.
Okay. So first of all, I was going to say, best news ever. David's hearing that your mother's on the road to recovery and everything, and obviously that always comes first. And the Spurs community, both the streamers and the people in the chat, are all here for you. And you know, we've spoken offline as well. Second of all, you know what? Me and Sean actually agree on a hell of a lot. It's just one slight difference we have. And a lot of it's not even a difference anymore. It's just the different outlook of it. But yeah, the dishes are nice and clean. My wife is the cook, believe me, because I don't want to die if I cook. So dishes I have to do. I'm trying to get a dishwasher put in, but hey ho, it's not happened yet. So I'm the dishwasher. But yeah, looking forward to this stream and looking forward to some, as Jack said, juicy questions. It's good to see Jack as well, man.
No, it is. It
Simba
is.
doing okay, Brian? Is Simba doing okay?
Simba is always good, although he's a complete mummy's boy and just stares at her all day. And when I say, do you want a treat, just come over and talk to me, he'll meow at my wife and not look at me. I'm like, well, you piss off then. No treats for you.
The father.
Bugsy is much the same.
I want a Rottweiler. It's always been my dream dog. And I said, once I got the Rottweiler, I will do all the walkies, all the everything, but I can't get it yet in the flat. So she can have the cat. But when we get our own place, that Rottweiler's coming. And then things change.
We need to start a GoFundMe to get Brian's dog trained to do Levy out. So we definitely need to get a GoFundMe for that.
Might have to do a parrot for that.
Just see the paws warming up.
I'm not sure dogs' paws have got the necessary finger dexterity to be able to do that.
Well, that's why he's training that.
Mate, look, you've seen the dogs on Britain's Got Talent. Who knows what these dogs can do now? So,
true.
So we'll see.
Of course. But look, guys, of course, you can see full of smiles here on the panel. So let's see who's in the chat and let's see how you're keeping before we do get into it. Guys, this show is sponsored by Manscaped. If anyone does want to get any top-ups on the products you've already got or you're interested about it, simply, it's pinned up in the chat, guys. Just get over to manscaped.com at any time and have a look, and we will be playing you a bit of a funny advert. Well, I think it's funny. Don't know whether you guys do or not, but we'll be playing an advert a bit later on for you. Darren Denton's in the house. Big up, Darren. He says about 500 million and above to build proper a 25-man squad. And he also says, and about 5 to 10 years process. Simple as that. Big up, Darren. And it's probably fair, but there are other ways to do it. Jazz Fusion says A+ change in ownership. Yeah, there's definitely that call. There's definitely that, my man. Big yourself up. And he also says, greeting, Dave. It's greeting, Jazz.
Jazz.
Hope you're keeping well. We've got light work. We could do it. We just have to get rid of the deadwood. It will take a couple of transfer windows, get the right mindset of players we need, a backup striker, a creative midfielder, and a good centre-back and goalkeeper. Not asking for much at all, light work. Not asking for much, my man. Big yourself up. But no, look, you're well entitled to ask for these things. Well entitled to. Welsh Gal says, bless my soul, what a panel. Big up, lovely lads. Come on, you Spurs. Ask Matty Hayes to bring back 3 points. I texted him. I told him to enjoy yourself. Matty is over at that game tomorrow. I'd say he's absolutely buzzing. What a lucky man. Hopefully he has better luck than Oliver and Mr. Brady. John Stokes says, afternoon, Dave and Jack. Big up, John. I hope you're keeping well, brother. Ten Hags Red says, R.I.P. Mino, really, Raiola. Yeah, but I've seen that. That is sad.
Did he actually pass away?
Yeah, it's official now. It's actually.
I knew that he had medical. Yeah, I knew that he was not in a good place, but I didn't know he actually passed away. So yeah. Thoughts with his friends, thoughts with his family. Yeah, very, very young, clearly as well.
100%. 164 Spurs says, see you. Big up 164 Spurs. I hope you're keeping well. Wembley 1 says, evening, guys. There's quite a question you've set. Clearly, only new ownership is the only way we are ever going to truly challenge, whilst tomorrow is vital. Clearly, next Saturday at Anfield scares me. Look, I'll be honest with you. For me, I think tomorrow's win or bust. I just think anything else but a win. I think, I do think top 4 is more or less over, to be honest with you. I think we've got to get the 3 points heading to Anfield. And look, Wembley, we set the questions, we bring on the people to answer them. So get your answers in as well, my man. The bottom do a big up, man. I really appreciate the email yesterday. Hope you're keeping well, brother. Good to see you in. And 164 Spurs says, good evening, guys. Good to see you. Good evening, my man. We also have Dermot Tottenham Tantrum Gold in the building. He says, we are the mighty Tottenham Hotspur, the greatest club in the land. We all live in the house that building built. Let us never forget the past. Glory nights. We will rise again. We will win again. Have faith. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely.
Dermot, I'm getting used to your other traditional welcomes when you go in the red corner and then you go through everyone. Where is that? You can't just not stop doing that now.
From Las Vegas.
He's not on overtime today, Sean. He's clearly taking the evening off. He's clearly taking the evening off.
You know what? He's too busy finding out ways to put that Tottenham on tour tattoo on his body because we're not getting third. So he's too busy thinking what part of the body that's going on.
He's shaving his ass to his bum cheek just to make.
Let us know where it's going. Let us know where it's going, darn it. Let us know. If not, we can hold a poll for you. We on the panel.
Yes, let's hold a poll. 100% hold a poll for that. 100%.
Seb Shaz, big up. Hope you're all good, and to all watching, big up, Seb. Really good message. Good to see you in, brother. We've got Ian Ferguson, afternoon, all big up, Ian. It's good to see you. Good to have you in. We've also got Rob Ragnarsson says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, Robbie. Hope you're keeping well. We've got Scott Hynam says, evening all, and the Flat Cap crew. Big up, Scotty boy. Good to see you. King Huddle, evening all. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, King Huddle. We're actually at the Cheese Room. We're streaming last night. I was in there listening. And it was actually a good stream for anyone that wants to know about the stadium and the training complex. And look, I know there's a hardcore people out there who just couldn't give a crap. I get that. But some of the stuff was interesting. And I was just saying, look, it's well and good having all this, but, in order to be able to match what we have, we now need to get the players in this summer, because if not, them facilities are wasted on people like Harry Winks, etc. And I didn't mean it in a bad way. King Huddle came in, Jack, like you always say, they're well able to just put it in a swifter comment. 2 lines, done and dusted, and exactly what I meant to say. Big up, King Huddle. Good to see you.
Legend.
We've got Ricky Nato in the building. Evening, brothers. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Ricky Nato.
Big
Hope
up,
you're
Ricky.
keeping well. It's good to see you. We've got Aaron Dove in the building.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's his birthday right here, right now. Happy birthday to one of my closest brothers.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday,
Big up,
Aaron.
Aaron. Happy birthday. Hope you have a good one, my man. He says, Trenona Mopukals. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Aaron. I'm not even going to go to translate a lad. I barely passed Irish in the Leaving Cert. I was actually, to be honest with you, I actually went out and celebrated because I passed Irish in the Leaving Cert. So big up, Aaron Dove. Good to see you. We've got Paul Mansbridge. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, the Flat Cap Army. Big up, Paul. Good to see you in, brother. We've got Lane Lee at LPS Spurs. Hello, guys. Hope all is well. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, my man. Good to see
Big
you
up,
in.
Lane Lee.
Well, good to see you in, Lane Lee. And we've got Super Tottenham. Big up, panel. Big yourself up, brother. Good to see you. Guys, we are going to pass over and let's kick this off. Let's get some questions. But before we do, just quickly, got to run through some admin. Guys, we want to be able to continue doing this forever. So if we got over 6,000 subscribers, if everybody grab that membership, it's €5 a month. We will be able to do this forever. And it's only €5 a month. It's better than Netflix, better than Amazon Prime. You get more out of us, more entertainment, more laughter than what you do out of any of them. And guys, feel free to get your super chats in at any time. We'll skip to the very top of the queue, and we will always have a good discussion on it. But do not worry. We understand electric bills have gone up and petrol has gone up. People are just making ends meet right now. So do not feel pressured. Just get your thoughts in the chat and we will bring them up as we go along. And smashing that like and subscribe button really, really does help us. And it's free, guys. But look, Jack, enough of the admin. That's not what people are here for. Let's start firing out the questions.
We're going to be talking a lot about the future, but I figured, maybe we start off with something kind of a bit more contemporary, maybe something that's also kind of sort of, nice to talk about, not really, too negative or anything. When Conte took over from Nuno, making the top 4 seemed a very daunting and difficult goal for Spurs. We had an initial honeymoon period, which I certainly loved, that 9-game unbeaten run with Conte, which gave us a bit of belief, but I don't know if we really were that realistic about it. And then ultimately, I feel like the most recent run of form has actually gotten us to this position where we do actually all of a sudden have something to fight for in this season. For you, Sean, while we're maybe really frustrated with the last 2 performances, do you feel like maybe we as fans could kind of, I don't know, kick back, think about maybe the journey that took us here and maybe think that this has been somewhat of an overachievement? Or do you think this is somewhat to be expected, maybe where we are?
So really, it's a tough one, actually. I was expecting that to come straight out of the blocks.
Straight out of the blocks, something heavy, Sean. It's like
whoa!
You got to be ready.
I haven't even stretched yet. Jesus. Are we overachieving for what we should, under Conte? I guess so. I think that the first half of the season under Nuno, we were so woeful. I think everyone was just like, what's going on? This is going to be one of the, not just a poor season in terms of expectations or outcomes, but just the performances were boring. I think it kind of started at the second, January of last season, after we lost that Liverpool game, and then we went on that horrendous run from January under Mourinho. Everything looked poor and tiresome and slow, and then under Nuno it looked even worse. And it was we were a bit kind of rudderless as a club. Conte's come in, obviously changed everything, and it's been a remarkable turnaround. It really has. Obviously, we've had 5 or 6 setbacks this year with various games where we probably shouldn't have lost, or at least played the way we did. But generally, I think we're probably punching above our weight a little bit. But then I know that you guys don't like me mentioning this, but I always think if you're going to pay the salary of someone like Conte, then with that comes certain expectations, and that should be to get diamonds from coals. And I guess you could argue that Conte has been doing that, and I just need him to do it 5 more times. So I think we probably have been overachieving a little bit. Yeah.
But there are people, Sean, I think you're right, because there are people when he came in, they were like, Conte's come in, people were like, and we were all dismal, just in depths of despair. But when he came in, people were kind of joking, oh, he's going to get us to top 4. What if we got top 4? He could drag us there. And he certainly has, given it a good attempt, that's for sure. And I think maybe the biggest part for me is maybe the biggest turnaround has actually, regardless of the push for top four, the biggest turnaround has been maybe the turnaround in certain players' kind of reputation at the club, where I thought Ben Davies was the first one on my sell list, even before Harry Winks, before he came in. I just was losing it with Ben Davies. Eric Dyer, I think, was already, again, starting to show kind of his old ways. All of a sudden, I think if most people at certain stages were even making jokes like they actually would only keep like 6 or 7 players, like legitimately, in the whole squad. Now it's actually a lot bigger when you really look at it, with all the players that you would probably keep around. So to be honest, maybe that's, if you really look at it, that's the biggest.
The individuals. Matt Doherty,
he saved players' careers. He saved certain players' careers, I would say.
I would make the case, though, there's a couple of players that I think have probably gone downhill a little bit since he's come in.
Fair. Yeah.
I don't think Reguilon. I think Reguilon's taken a backward step since he's come in, and obviously Harry Winks. But I think and Emerson Royale, I'm not sure if he's ever going to fit that system.
But I feel like Harry Winks was already quite low under Nuno. So Harry Winks has hit maybe a bit of a spurt, and then it died down. Which,
he was already at rock bottom. He bounced, and then he's fallen back down again. But I think that Matt Doherty is probably the biggest turnaround, right? When that guy's just gone from zero to hero. Example. So I agree with you, mate.
What do you think? I think, I completely agree. Brian, what do you think of it? Like, is it an overachievement with what Conte's maybe done so far, or is that too early to tell? Do you think this is what was expected when he was hired? How do you feel about this?
I look at it in two ways. Player-wise, and what he's achieved to get out of those players if we get there. Yeah, he is, player-wise, he's completely overachieved. But then you look about it, and where I say he's underachieved, if we look at the Burnleys, the Southamptons, the Wolves, and the shit show performances we've had, we wouldn't even be saying, "Oh, we're going to get top four." We would be fourth, third, whatever it may be. So that it depends what side of the coin you want to look at it. And like Sean was saying, for his extraordinary wage he's getting, let's face it, that's what he was offered. He weren't going to go, whoa, that's too much, give me lower. That was. But this is what the modern market does, and this is what managers get paid. Could he have been, when I say back more, I don't mean financially with loads and loads of money. I mean, could we have got a wing back in? We desperately all know that we needed a wing back. And let's face it, it wouldn't have cost much to get an upgrade on the right wing back. And I'm being serious now. Someone that could play that position. It would not take a lot of money. I don't mean go and spend someone at 50, 60. There could have been a player that could have come in.
If he achieves this without a wing back, what you're saying, what if he achieved this without a wing back?
And then it goes back, when I look at it more on the player side, you look at it, he didn't know Doherty was going to hit a purple patch of form and then get injured. He didn't know Tanganga was going to have a drop in form and then get injured. He didn't know Ollie Skip, who was pivotal to me in the first time. The way I always say it is you always can tell how much you miss a player when they're not there. Forget if they have a bad game. If they're not there, and you could see in certain games when Ollie Skip weren't there, you could see just how pivotal he's come. So for me, it's a really hard question, and I don't know what side of the coin to look on. But let's just hope we get top four, and then we can have this question and really talk about it as opposed to not get it and then be like, oh, here we go again. So yeah. But
Ryan, would you have taken 5th at the start of the season, or would you have taken 5th in September when we were struggling?
I said last season, as we went in with Nuno, I said do well in the Conference League or a domestic cup and get Europa League. That is progress. I mean, I don't think there is a single fan out there that said when we got Nuno, do you know what, top four's on, we're going to do it. And then when you went, and that's not a disrespect to Nuno, it's just the level of manager he's at. He's never shown it in any other job. But then when you bring in a Conte, straight away you go from Champions League, Europa Conference League, and maybe a Europa League finish. You automatically bypass the Europa League and think, right, this is Champions League. But obviously I still say he came in too late. If we had him in the summer, for whatever reason it didn't work. If we had him from the summer and he had a full pre-season, this ain't even a discussion in my eyes. It's top four guaranteed in my eyes. But yeah, if we had got 5th at the start of the season, I would have bit your hand off for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably the right way to put it, to be fair, because had we really looked at it before even Conte was in charge, we didn't really want to keep any of the squad. I mean, I think even at one stage, David and I were kind of saying we didn't even like the majority of the players in the squad, to be fair. And things were really in a different place. And now maybe he's gotten us there. And I would say with the lack of a wingback signing in January, if he were to achieve top four without any wingbacks whatsoever, I think it just makes it perhaps, even more of an overachievement. But this certainly is being asked very, very early, which is why it's such a hard question, Dave. So what's your thoughts on it? Maybe do you feel like fans should maybe look back and kind of realize that maybe this journey is kind of actually quite remarkable, with where Conte's brought us so far? Wherever it goes from here, do you think maybe there should be more of a reflection of maybe how we even got here in the first place?
Look, first of all, let me start by saying, Jack, I still don't like more than half of the players in this squad. I still don't like them. I still think we could do better. And I'll always stand by that until I kind of get in players that I feel this club deserves. But look, on reflection of this season, when we brought in Nuno, look, we all know where we were after that defeat to United. Nobody would have talked about us in the top four hopes. In fact, us Spurs fans were probably talking about being lucky to finish in the top half of the table. Then you look at January. In the January we had where we played Chelsea 3 times, won in the Carabao Cup semi-final, lost them in the league and stuff like that. I mean, we had a pretty poor January. And again, nobody had us in the conversation. So from going back just even as far as January to now being in the conversation for top four and in a battle, I think we have overachieved, to be honest with you, Jack. Look, I'm under no illusion that the likes of United being piss poor, Arsenal being piss poor has really helped us, kind of get towards this top four battle. But at the end of the day, when everything was dead and buried and people were ready to write off the season, the players clamored together. Conte managed to get them to come together, probably, and we went on a very, very, very good run to be able to put ourselves in this position. And like you said, we'd have snapped your hand off for 5th place back then. But even if we do get top four, or even if we just miss out, we can't settle with that and be like, that's okay. Come the summer, we have to straight away get onto it. We need more. We need to improve. You cannot settle and say that's good enough, because from day one when I first came onto YouTube, I actually had arguments with people. That top four is not a trophy. Well, I mean, it kind of works both ways. What I would kill to get back top four right now, but when I'm back in top four, I don't want to just rest and say, yeah, I'm delighted with top four. I want trophies at this football club. And that's the next step. And this, for me, is why Conte is here. And look, I liken it to asking a one-armed guy with only his weak arm left to go into the Olympics where guys have 2 arms and they use their good arm to try and win gold in the javelin jack. I mean, it's not exactly like you're up against it. The odds are stacked against you. Every bookmaker would have the odds stacked against you. But the thing is, it's not impossible and it can be done. And I liken it to that sort of situation, to be honest with you. And for me, I think he definitely deserves a hell of a lot of praise. You have to remember, Harry Kane wasn't performing. Son was performing. We were relying on, you didn't know what you were going to get out of Lucas week in, week out. Harry Winks was in the midfield being a little pussy as usual. You have, and then he's making Højbjerg look so bad that people are starting to question, hang on, is Harry Winks better than Højbjerg? How bad we were. Honestly, we were absolutely atrocious. No. And to be able to kind of even get this form, to get some sort of cohesion together and some sort of pattern of play and make something work to be able to get us to this point, I think is a very, very good job by Antonio Conte, to be honest with you.
I think you also have to look at the fact
he's turned around. It's not even the players he's turned around, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I think what's even more impressive as well is the fact that he's also had, like, pretty much on a good day, he has like 13 players he can work with on a good day. There have been stages of this season where I think there have been people, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think there are people close to Conte who came out and said that the reason why he's even being so weird with substitutions is that there was at one stage when he looked back at the bench and then just looked back towards the pitch when he was thinking about, making any sort of substitution. And I think that might be also as well part of the real overachievement is he has basically done it with a semblance of a squad, in some sense of a form, and has really, somehow almost super glued, I guess, things together to try to make it work for the rest of the season. And I don't know. I think that's what's more impressive. It's just like, a poor set of, kind of misused toys of players in certain cases, and he's kind of found maybe some use out of them. And I think that's a big, plus for it as well. Dermot in here with an absolutely huge one. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, live from Madison Square Garden, where the mighty Kate Taylor fighting tonight with hundreds watching, thousands worldwide. One thing left to say, let's get ready to rumble." Big up Tottenham Tactical, big up Dermot.
Because Jack, you
Really,
won't
really
get a job in the
generous as
boxing
well.
ring like Bruce Buffer anyway, lad. You got to put more oomph into it. No,
Maybe
Bruce
a bit
Buffer.
later, Dave. Maybe I'll have to do it after Sean's game day tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll do it then.
Stick to being a football scout, lad.
But Dave, anything to say to Dermot here? I don't know. He's listened to Sean earlier about the introductions. He's done his his overtime work here, and he's also put in a super chat, which is very, very generous as well.
No, big up, my man. I really do appreciate it. And look, I hope Katie Taylor really does batter the crap out of Soriano tonight, and I think she will, Dermot. I think it'd be a very good fight, to be honest with you. Look, it's another easy payday for Katie Taylor, to be honest with you, Dermot. And he also says, Mr. Daigle, all book it up, going on the upper left arm. All of you legends, all of you. So he's going to book it up, and it's going on his upper left arm. Well,
on the upper
left.
left.
Dermot, I think we should be able to have a poll and put it out there. To be honest with you, I think what we should do is, I think every content creator should nominate a body part, and then we'll put that out in polls, and then we'll narrow it down to the best two, and then we'll put a poll out then with the best two, and then we'll decide for you where it goes. Look, I know it's
very democratic.
Look, I know it's your body, Dermot. Plenty of people out in the
Your
world.
body, our choice.
Yeah, your body, your choice. But
If it's up to me, Dermot, it's up to me. You get the TOT across your nipple with the O just surrounding your nipple right here. It'll be just perfect.
or a T on each cheek.
I have to say, when it comes to tattoos, my next one is very much likely to be Sean's idea, where I'm going to get 6 packs drawn on my fingers there. For my, it's gone from being a joke to an actual. It's growing on me all the time. So you may see 6 coming to a fingers near you, maybe a 6 pack.
Yeah.
You'll regret it when you're 50, mate. I promise you that.
I know, mate. At least it's a story. Actually, when they go, "Why have you got this?" and I'll be like, "It'll probably still be there, mate. So I'll probably still be using them. I'll have a 12.
Yeah, you will be. Yeah. 12 pack by then. Yeah. Nice.
Well, Dermot, if you're putting on the upper left arm, get the guns going, my man. You got to hit the summer training, my man, with the rest of the squad. He's got to get the guns going for that, because especially with the left arm. But big up, Dermot. Really, really generous. Also, just quickly, Dave, as well. He's a member for 6 months as well, saying, "Thank you, lads, for all you do, the support you gave all of the Harris Army and Flat Cap Army. We are all thankful. You will all be the mothership for TTG. So here to plenty more years of success. God bless you both." Wow. Very, very generous today, Dermot, with also the words as well.
Legend. Big up, Dermot. Really appreciate it. Everybody do get over and check out the Tottenham Tantrum Goal as well. It does all the old games, all the history that maybe some people need to know. I think, when we were back winning trophies, get over there and check them out. Joseph with the super chat says, "Big up, Dave, Jack, the panel, and the whole Spurs community. Season ticket renewals in. What scam will the club pull off? Tomorrow it's win and bust. Come on, you Spurs." But Joseph, that brings me into sort of like a good segue, and I'm going to give Daigle a couple of minutes here to kind of of what's going on with this fan with that's been diagnosed terminally ill. This is the scam.
Yeah. So you want me to? So there's an update, because I heard from Graham yesterday, so I can update everyone where we're at. So obviously, there was a major uproar within the Spurs community. In fact, the guy in question didn't know what a stir it was going to cause, and is thankful to everyone that played any part in it. So what basically happened is a friend of a very close mutual friend of mine, who had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, had the season ticket renewal, obviously, as we know, was coming up, and his birthday was 11 days after the new season started, which is when the cutoff is for getting senior citizen discount or anything like that. And a few of them, with the gentleman himself, went to the club and went to the ticket office and asked, because it being 11 days, and let me just say, this guy has been a season ticket holder since the 60s, home and away. So this guy has given God knows how much money to this football club. They went to go get to see if they could do the concession 11 days early because he's been given 18 months to live. Could be less, could be, but they're saying that's the maximum. And the ticket office, and as I said with Sean on his show yesterday, the ticket office said no outright. Now, this isn't anyone at the ticket office's fault. We all went in outrage. No one at the ticket office is at fault here. They get given a set of rules that they need to adhere by. The rules come from above. We don't know obviously how high, but you'd imagine it's from the very top. And they said no. And you've also got to remember this ticket office was also told with this season ticket renewal for any people that can't afford it, call the ticket office to discuss it on a case-by-case basis, which is not that's not for them to do because again they've got a set of rules that they can't break. As much as it may hurt them to hear these stories, they can't go above what's been set. So anyway, this happened. A few YouTubers that are close to this person obviously started shouting their mouths off, or I say shouting, using their platform to get this out. And it also, there's someone, I don't know if he's in the chat right now, and I'm not going to give his name, reached out to me personally, said, Brian, this is something for the trust. Give me all the details. I'll talk to the trust, blah, blah, blah. They did. Came back to me and said, right, this is the information I've got for you. Pass it on to where it needs to be. So did that. Obviously, this whole hullabaloo was taken off. And like I said, I go back to this is the guy that's seen Greavesy, the doubles. He's seen the good, the bad, the ugly. And it caused such a storm that the trust got involved. And I will say, big up to the trust because they were absolutely outstanding. This is the thing. I'm someone that comes on here and obviously give one man a lot of bullshit. But I also talk about other things. But when I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. And I used to give the trust a hell of a lot of grief because I think that word supporters trust is not the right name because it sets expectations. Like if there's any problems, go to the supporters trust, they sort it. The amount of work the supporters trust do for the disabled and the partially and the stuff that goes around, that's their remit. To do what we're trying to do, it's not their remit. So I gave them a lot of credit, but I'll also give them a lot of stick, but I'll also give them a lot of credit when they do it, and they are due a lot of credit for what they did. So where we are now is the discount from senior citizen to regular, I believe, is 50%. And obviously, everyone at 65 is eligible for that. They have resolved this. What I can say is they haven't offered the 50%. It's less than 50%. It's less than 40%. I'm not going to go into the percent it is, but the guy in question is happy with the offer. Not jumping for joy, but do you know what? They offered him a load of different things, and this was the most suitable for him. So the club did bend, but only because of severe pressure that was getting mounted. The guy is now happy, and it gets put to bed because the guy's like, right, listen, thank you to everyone because everyone did their bit. And that's it. It's just it goes to show, especially with Joseph saying that it's just this isn't even a Levy thing for me. This is a human decency, and if you have medical records and you're showing that you don't know how long you're going to live, and you've been supporting something or doing something, there's got to be a bit of empathy, a bit of human compassion. There wasn't, but it's been resolved. So yeah, thank God. It just goes to show that when we put our foot down, fans can make a difference.
Yeah.
But that's the huge message. You look at it with the Super League. That weren't just us. That was Chelsea, Arsenal, and Chelsea up. I think it was on your show, David, when it all broke that it was getting cancelled. And I stood up and said, "Thank you, Chelsea." And I can't believe I'm saying that, but Chelsea went there. So they were the first game, and they did their bit, and it showed that what fan power can do. Then you had Levy out or Nuno out, whatever it was. Straight away a resolution. So you look at Liverpool with the ticket. Fan power does make a difference, and it's just good that this has happened for this gentleman who's given his life to Tottenham Hotspur, and it was damn right that Tottenham give him something back.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see everybody come together for such a good cause as well.
Yeah.
So, it's look, although it's not what he's want, at least the pressure was put on to help the guy out. So big up everybody involved in that and fair play, And like Brian said, it's just on a human decency level. So big up everybody involved in spreading that. Joseph says, what changes will you make to the 11 tomorrow? You're too early, Joseph. We're supposed to be doing this tomorrow, starting at 10:30, my man. But no, I don't think they're. Look, Session's or Reguilon's out injured, so Session will play left wing back. Emerson will play right wing back. Actually, I text Ben about this. He did call for Harry Winks to be put into the starting 11 in a 3-man midfield. I told him I wasn't happy with him. I told him I was going to out him for it. I sent him the clip and everything, so there was no hiding from it. There is that possibility that could happen, but I just thought if that happens, it would go through my conscience whether I kind of want to watch the game or not, to be honest with you, because I just already know the outcome that's going to happen. So, look, I don't think he'll make any changes. What do I want to see? Given that Bergwijn came off the bench against Leicester and scored in the 90th minute and then scored in the resulting kickoff from that and got us the winner, I would actually like to see him given a go at right wing back tomorrow. Play one that's more attacking, play a bit lopsided, maybe get Session to kind of hold back a little bit and get Bergwijn to go forward. I think it'd also bring Kulu in as well. I just think maybe it might give us a bit of a threat. But big up, Joseph. That's what I would do, my man. Let me know whether you agree or disagree, brother. Let me know, man. But big up. Really appreciate the support. You're too kind. It really does help us out with everything we do here. And Daniel Larson says, hi, guys. Who is more injury prone, Reggie or Says? To be fair, if I was Reggie, I would have a groin problem as well, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we've all seen the pictures of what he's walking around with. We know, my man.
I didn't know what he meant, but now I guess I do.
Yeah. Look, I'd probably be out every couple of weeks with a groin injury, to be honest with you.
I'm eventually waiting for him to get a TikTok injury, of some kind of, because he's, with the TikTok videos he's been doing these days, he's just going to pull a hamstring or something, with what he's been doing over there. But I guess Reggie's been injury prone sort of this season, but you look at last season and it was like, if he had gotten injured, we would have been absolutely screwed in every single way whatsoever. So, because it would have been Ben Davies, Dave. Sessegnon was over at Hoffenheim. Ben Davies was the backup left back. We know that he can't do it and he wouldn't cut it. There was a reason why Reguilon was being picked week in and week out. And he actually stayed fit for the majority of the season. So credit to him. This season, yeah, he's been a bit more injury prone, but I don't know. I would still say Reguilon is a bit more reliable just because Sessegnon has always been a backup wingback and he's found ways to be injured as a backup wingback, whereas Reguilon has been sort of the preferred wingback, this whole time.
Yeah, look, I have no doubt, Daniel. I definitely do think it's up to curricular activities, to be honest with you.
Well, she's still in Spain, David. She's still in Spain.
But these people have the money to fly her over on a private jet. She'd be here in 2 hours and she'd be locked up in the dungeon downstairs,
No, there is that. I will say on what Jack just said, though, do you know what? I would have rather Ben Davies at left back last season. If you look after Christmas, after he got caught with Lo Celso and Lamela at that Christmas do where they should have been self-isolating, he was woeful for the second end of the season. And the only good thing he did is score that incredible own goal of the season at Aston Villa, where he volleyed it into the top corner when looking the other way. I still don't know how he did that. That's all aboard the showboat for me. How you can do a volley into the top corner looking the other way is just
outside the
that is high level techers. Listen, they're both made out of Weetabix, so
Danny Kiriaki called out for that yesterday, Brian. He says you have to change it from Weetabix. He says Weetabix actually makes you stronger. Yeah,
but this is true. But I'm talking about the Weetabix when you add milk and it all starts flaking away. That's the kind of diet Weetabix. But yeah, I'm more. When it comes to these two, I prefer Reguilon as a left back, but we don't play left back now. We play left wing back. And for me, it's Sessegnon. But the only niggling problem we have with Sessegnon is we have to address this injury problem. Like if you look at Lukaku last season at Real Madrid, Inter Milan, there was always this problem about his weight, whatever, and they're trying to work it out. And then Conte's medical staff worked out it was something to do with his gut, changed his diet, bang, off you go. If they can identify what keeps reoccurring with Sessegnon, hopefully they can get a tune out of him if they can keep him fit, because I really think there is a player there.
Yeah, do you know what? For me, I think he's bordering on that age now. In the next year or two, you'll see whether the player's in there, whether it'll come out or not, or whether it'll go the opposite way. But I disagree with you on Reguilon, Brian. I actually do think Reguilon is a good player. I think you will see more out of him if he could just get a consistent run, but at the same time, I don't know what's going on with him and Conte. Maybe Conte's jealous of what he's driving around with. I'm not sure. I do not know, but I think there maybe is something to it. But big up, Daniel. I really do appreciate the support,
Appreciate
brother.
you,
and everyone else. Keep getting your support and keep getting your comments and your likes and your subscribes. But look, Jack, take it away, my man. Let's move on to the next question.
Let's keep moving on, everybody. With the next one, I feel like, it's a bit more contemporary again. We spoke about, how the wingbacks, recently have been, kind of targeted in the sense that, maybe every team has just realized that our wingbacks don't pose much of a threat. And maybe that could actually be the downfall of our top four, kind of push at the end of this campaign. Recently, we've seen basically how the loss of Doherty has maybe followed with a huge drop in points, maybe in the lack of quality and consistent performances from the wingbacks could eventually be the downfall for our top four. So, Sean, my question to you is, if we were maybe to not get top four, would you imagine that would be like, if you were to point at one thing and only one thing, you and I talked about, of course, the pie of blame, but if you had to give all the slices of that pie to something, would it be the wingbacks? Would you point to that as maybe being the downfall of kind of the top four push?
Yeah. I think injuries, but I guess if you had to pick to a position, then 100% wingbacks.
In terms of the performances on the pitch,
performances on the pitch. But I do think that you'd have to also, a contender would be just the fact that we have a threadbare squad, and then, the fact that we rely on wingbacks. We only have 4 wingbacks, or maybe 5 wingbacks if you include Tanganga, and just when you need them, 3 of them are injured.
Right.
So it's not. So I think the wingbacks as a position, the performances from some, yes, but also the injuries to others. If we had our first choice, if Doherty was still playing right now, I think we'd be a lot stronger. I think we'd have beaten Brighton and Brentford, etc. So wingbacks as a position, injuries as a contender as a factor in the pie of blame.
Yeah. I feel like, Brian, it's kind of what teams have targeted us for. They've realized that our wingbacks don't really pose any threat. So why even, put people out wide, to, maybe honor that threat? They just decided to, just pack the middle with players and just say, listen, Emerson, do your best. You probably won't really do very much with it. And they've kind of said the same thing with the left wing backs as well. Do you think if we don't get top 4, would that be kind of the main maybe source of blame, you would say, or just the main reason basically that maybe we just didn't get it was because the wingbacks just weren't good enough?
Joe, I don't think you can. They are under Conte. Don't get me wrong. They are solely about it. But what we got to remember, there was a pre-Conte, and there was a Nuno where we were 20th and running. We were 3 games without a shot on target or a shot. There's the Man City just scored again 2-0. There were you're looking at there's transfer activity like Brian Hill. I still don't understand that. I'd rather Lamella was here still any day of the week, especially when it comes to his passion and his commitment to the badge. So under Conte, you've got to look at it as a lion's share being the wing backs, and this will be a bit controversial. I think Conte's got to take some of it as well. I'm with Sean. I am with Sean. Yeah. Listen, listen. I've said it on so many streams. 3-4-3 is his default setting, and who are we to argue his default setting? Because it wins the Premier League, it wins Serie A with 2 different clubs. There's no denying he did it with Chelsea. When Chelsea they got battered by the field, he was like, right, I'm going back to type. So you can understand it being this tried and tested, but there are times where you can see it's just not working. And in games, like Joe said on that super chat, the change I want to see tomorrow, we know the wing backs aren't going to change because of injuries. I don't want to see 2 defensive midfielders. I want to see 1. Get another attack.
You said this yesterday, didn't you? Yeah, it was interesting on this was. Yeah.
We need goals. We need to win. It's not. Sean said on the We Are Tottenham TV watch along that it was on. At this point, I'd rather, and you've heard it before, you'd rather go out fighting than just go out with a whimper. Listen, if we're going to do this, and we need to, as we are sent. I'd understand if we were going after Arsenal, and we knew what Arsenal were doing. It was like, right, they lost. We can play our game and then change it. We now need to set the tone to Arsenal and let them see, oh, wait a minute, they got 3 points. It's vital we get 3 points.
Yeah.
So I think after the draw with Brighton, especially if Bentancur's if I said to you Bentancur's still got a knock, and we're just marshalling him through games with the filth and Liverpool coming up right or the other way round, but back to back, would you sacrifice Bentancur to have a week's rest so he's more fit for those two than play at home to Leicester, who are going for nothing? So I think Spurs have got to. I think Spurs have got to go attacking. And can you imagine if the fans come? If we're all watching at home, the pub, or at the stadium, and you see Spurs come out with an attacking formation, it's like, right, we're going for it straight away, and Sean will be there. You are going tomorrow, Sean, aren't you?
I'm not going tomorrow. No,
you're not? Okay.
I'm watching it with the boys here. Yeah.
So the atmosphere will be lifted. It will be and we need a fast start. So I don't want to see us going with two defensive. Big up, Arthur, brother.
What would you do? What would you do instead then? Who would you swap Bentancur for or Højbjerg for?
Well, you know what the thing is, you can even drop Kane back further to start him drop, and then put Bergwijn up with Son. So you could do that, and then you've got your 3-man midfield, or play Bergwijn as a attacking of like a midfield triangle, so to speak. Oh no, not a triangle because you got the 3. There's just a way. I've just got, and again, this is where like you say, Sean, Conte gets paid a truckload of money to make these decisions.
Figure it out, bro.
Exactly. I mean, we know the thing is with Kane as well, and I said it on your stream as well yesterday, Sean, is we need Kane to come back because we have no creativity, but then we need Kane to stay forward because we need him to be at the end of things.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
And as good as he is, he cannot assist himself. I mean, that's the one thing I think Harry Kane can't do. Cross the ball and make a run for himself.
So that's the biggest criticism.
Saying that, he'll go and do it tomorrow now. But yeah, I just think we need to come out attacking and just go cutthroat and gun ho. So this is what I'm saying with Conte and the a little bit of the blame because we're just being too rigid. We need to change it up, and it's now the time where points. It would be different if it was November and games were on our side. Games aren't on our side now. Nothing less than W's will do now.
I agree. I think that's the right way to look at it, Brian. Dave, do you think maybe Conte's kind of reliance on those wingbacks, and since our wingbacks are pretty atrocious, maybe that might come to our detriment? You know, the fact that he does have a bit of an over-reliance on those wingbacks to, be a bit more than the average, sort of player on the pitch. He does, ask a lot of them, and the players that we have just aren't good enough to do what he's asking from them. Could that be our downfall?
No, I disagree, to be honest with you. First of all, I like this comment from Derek Smith, so I'm going to read it out. He says, we ought to employ the Royal Marine Band. We'd get a tune out of all of them. Absolutely love it. Big up, Derek.
Royale.
Instead of Emerson Royale, get the Royal Marine Band in. Look, for me, Jack, I'll be honest with you, right? I don't blame Conte. Like I said, Conte has come in, and look, I get he's being paid 14 million a year, and what are we getting for that? Well within your right to question that. I fully get it. But for me, brought in a guy into a sinking ship. He's plugged the holes. 2 of them have been unplugged, and he just doesn't have any wood left to plug them. Now, that's not his fault. Look, for me, I maintain...
Nice analogy.
You don't think he can find... But this is the thing, Dave. He could find a plan B. He could find some gum. He could find, something, to cover the holes. He doesn't have to just cover it with wood.
No one's stopped him shop to buy Wrigley's. What's he supposed to do? I mean, look, for me, I blame the players. And solely because this is just typical Tottenham that I've seen down the years. This is just typical Tottenham that I've seen down the years. When there's no pressure and we're chasing things, we will play magnificent football, blow people out, and we'll play well.
Yeah.
As soon as it's in our hands, all of a sudden, things crumble. We seen it under Jose Mourinho last season. We were going for top 4. We had our sights on it. All of a sudden, we can do it. They stop performing, and then they pick it up towards the end of the season just to save themselves for Europa Conference League. I've seen this time and time again with this football club. For me,
David, you can go further back. It happened under Martin Jol with Lasagna Gate. It happened with AVB on Bale's last season. It's continuously happened.
It's a cycle. Look, I've always spoke about player mentality at this club, and it's going to take someone to come in and win something and bring in a couple of winning mentalities and ruthless mentalities with them to be able to change the culture at this club. Look, for me, we're chasing top 4. blowing teams apart. As soon as we're inside top four, we lose to Brighton and we draw with Brentford. Now, you look to Brighton, we were just sloppy. I mean, it's the same tactics that bet them in the FA Cup and bet them 2-0 when I was at the Annex, absolutely obliterating Harry Potter, right? Brentford, bet them early on in the season when Nuno came in, bet them 2-0. Same tactics. But the only difference is, and I'm going to use the Brentford game as my example, first half, Dyer taking 6, 7, 8 touches. I can understand that at times you want to draw the opposition out from sitting deep, fine. But then that first pass has to be forward. It's not, it's going sideways. You look back, you go back and watch highlights against Aston Villa, go back and watch highlights against West Ham, go back and watch highlights against Newcastle. Majority of our passes were forward and penetrating passes. Against Brentford and Brighton, everyone wanted to pass sideways, this, that, and the other. You're telling me Liverpool don't come up or City don't come up against these teams and they block up certain areas of the pitch that they've found joy in. But what's the difference? The players find the solutions and the answers on the pitch. Now, look, it took the players to get an absolute rollicking at halftime from Antonio Conte to come out in the second half and start doing things at one touch. This isn't a myth that lower teams in the Premier League sit back. I mean, it's always been the way. They will sit back, shore it up. Now, the difference is that other teams find answers, but with Tottenham, when them teams do that, you have to be able to one-touch pass, move the ball quickly. We've done that in the second half. We got into good positions, but the decision-making was absolutely shit. So it's nothing to do with the tactics. It's to do with the players and their mentality. Why are they coming out playing slow football in the first half against Brentford and then get a bollocking at halftime and all of a sudden Eric Dyer, one touch, move past forward. Everyone's looking to move forward with the ball. It's the first instinct rather than the first half. Sideways, sideways, sideways. It can't happen. It's down to the players. I'm not putting another one on the manager. I've seen it here happen time and time again.
You haven't put any on the manager.
Huh?
You haven't put anything on the manager. You can't say I'm not putting another one on the manager. You haven't put the first one on the manager.
No, I don't. Look, Sean, since I started this, I haven't blamed the managers. And purely the reason why is I don't think they've got the backing that they deserve or the right people in place to bring in the players they want. Somewhere along the line, the system has been broken and it's affected what they've been able to deliver. And as well, for me, look, I've seen it under Jose Mourinho. Everyone telling me Jose Mourinho's finished this, his tactics, it's this, it's that. It's like, well, no, it's the same tactics that worked at every other club he's been at and he's delivered trophies. The difference is that at Tottenham...
Yeah, tactics move on though, mate. They have a sell-by.
No, I get that, Sean. I get that. But the way he's managed, look, he's won trophies everywhere else he's been, bar Tottenham Hotspur.
I know.
Let
me ask you this.
Wait, 1 second. He has a chance to win one with Roma, a European Cup. We sacked him 6 days before a cup final without giving him a chance, and he's the one that got us there. But the difference between what he was able to do at other clubs compared to Tottenham was the quality of the players, Sean. It's the quality of the players. It's like, how many times have we seen over the years, even under Pochettino, some of these same players, and I include Kane, Son, and Lloris in this now. We get to finals, we can get to semi-finals, but what happens? We do not have that mentality to get by. We do not have that mentality to push ourselves. When the going gets tough, we're always looking for someone to blame. The players are out in the press. In fact, another thing, Sean, players out in the press this week, Kane, Davies, Dyer, Kane, we need to win every game from now on. I mean, talk about stating the obvious. Eric Dyer, we can do better. This, that, and the other. I've seen it all from him before under Jose Mourinho last year. Seen it all from Ben Davies before under Jose Mourinho and Pochettino.
Yeah.
I went back and I wanted to see something myself. I went back and watched the whole All or Nothing again. And one thing stuck out to me was there was Dele Alli came in throwing his boots on the ground against Wolves after the game after Tottenham lost. And he was going mad. And Eric Dyer was basically saying, instead of like coming in here and moaning and the team this, the team that, call out individuals. That's what this club needs. Are these players doing that? I don't think so, because these players are of a Pochettino mold where everything's like, you got a confidence, you can't criticize each other, you can't call players out. But that's why, and that's why we're finding it hard to adjust, because now we're coming to winners where Mourinho wants players to call each other out. Conte wants players to hold each other to a certain standard. That's not a problem in football. We're allowed to do that. In fact, you're telling me City and Liverpool players don't hold each other to standards in training and stuff like that and bollock each other? Of course they do. We do not have enough of that at Tottenham. And for me, I'm not putting another manager on the bus. I'm just not going to do it. His tactics are the ones that work to get us here from when he come into now.
But it's okay to be flexible. Let me ask you this question.
Wait,
right?
what though, Sean? I get.
Okay, so in his pre-match press conference, he was asked by whoever it was, would you consider playing Kulusevski at right wing back? And his answer was, of course. He has played at right wing back for Juventus. He's definitely a player that we can do that with. If we play him at right wing back tomorrow, then why didn't we play him at right wing back after the first half in Brighton? Or why didn't we do it against Brentford? Like, if there are options to the changing, not necessarily, if he doesn't want to change the formation, fine. But if there are options with swapping player roles or giving player specific changes, and he doesn't do it, all he does is come in at halftime and bollock Eric Dyer for taking 3 touches on the ball rather than 1.
He should be.
Fine.
But you've seen the difference in the second half, though, Sean. Did you not?
For 10 minutes.
No, we had way more possession. We had way more passes in their half, way more passes in their final third. We've seen the difference in the half. The difference is what we've done in possession. We didn't do enough in possession. No one grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. No one had a bit of bollocks to go and skin a player, crack a shot off and make something happen. That's what these games require. But
if Kulusevski has played at right wing back tomorrow and he does a good job, can we reflect and say that could have been something we've done earlier?
But Sean, does Mane or Salah or I'm not going to use City because he rotates more, but does Mane or Salah have 1 bad game or 2 bad games and all of a sudden Klopp wants to plug them at fullback? Why would you take a player who's been performing in that position and has come in and had the impact who's, I think, for a player under 21, he's more or less had more assists than anybody. Why all of a sudden after 1 game would you drop him back? It doesn't happen. You usually allow players
not to punish him.
2 games.
Not to punish him.
To make up for the horrible draws.
No, it's
a realization.
I'm not saying to punish him, but why would Conte take him out of that position when he's been producing the goods in that position?
Because he wasn't getting the ball. He was completely anonymous for 180 minutes of football, not because of his fault necessarily, but because Emerson wasn't working and because the team weren't moving. And so if things aren't working, change them. It doesn't have to be a slight.
It's all well and good calling a change, Sean, but you have to ask yourself: do we have the right things to be able to call for a change? No,
I think we do. I think we have. I think we have enough options to be able to try right wing back Kulusevski just to try it, because Emerson Royale is the weak link in an otherwise fragile team anyway. And I think Emerson Royale playing tomorrow
more than
this is why there's
more material to fix the leak. He thinks there's
more
material.
This is why I say, and David just brought it to my attention when he was talking about Dyer and the 8 touches before going forward. This is why I'm saying Bentancur, if he's not 100% fit, because one of the reasons he was bought when I was on the show with you 3 and Matt Hayes, one of Bentancur's key attributes was getting the ball and getting it forward.
Yeah.
Now he's carrying a knock, and these two games that we've just had are the ones where he's had a knock, and these 2 games are the ones where we have looked woeful. This knock might be a little bit more than right. We can't keep you in the game all the time. We can't use you to your full potential. So it could be. There's no coincidence now when I look at it that the ball going forward to Kane, to Son, to Kulu has been a lot slower in the 2 games that Bentancur has supposedly got a knock and is an 100%.
Yeah, Bentancur wasn't moving. In the first half against Brentford, in the entire game against Brighton, Bentancur was absolutely second of the 2 midfielders. Højbjerg massively outplayed Bentancur.
Exactly.
Bentancur wasn't moving to receive the ball. You might be right, Brian. Maybe he's carrying a knock. I certainly think Harry Kane was carrying a knock after the tackle from the goalkeeper.
But we can't drop him.
But the thing is with Bentancur, I mean, what do? Do we go back to the same old thing with Harry Winks again, where we know what the
no, I'll go both ways.
Can't keep going back to that. But Bergwijn's not a midfielder, though, is he? You can't. You know,
Kulusevski might be able to central
role.
Huh?
Yeah.
You put Bergwijn up top, which is where Conte has said, right, this is where I see him playing, and you drop Harry into like Teddy or even further back, because then he can get on the ball, and then you got a Son, a Kulu, whatever. So that's why I think just now we don't. Right now, I think the huge problem is we don't need 2 defensive midfielders. We're not going out that we need to keep things tight and make sure we don't. We need to win. I know Conte has said, if you don't win, don't lose. But draws aren't going to do us any good now, especially seeing that if we get a draw, we go 1 point behind Arsenal, and then Arsenal know right, if we get a win, we're 4 points. They've got Liverpool next and then us.
Yeah.
A draw or a defeat, it's not if you don't win, don't lose. Tomorrow is you win, you win, you win, you win. And that guy that said that having the Marine band, fuck the Marine band, get Mossad, Navy SEALs, get the SAS, get them all
I'm not
there.
sure they play music. I'm not sure Mossad sits there playing a violin.
No, sure. What you do is you say to them, if you don't win, we're taking training for the week. And believe me, you don't want us taking training.
Yeah. I think personally, whilst I love your appetite for changing something, because you know how I feel about that, I'm not even necessarily suggesting that Kulusevski is the right person to go right wing back. I just want to see something different. And I think Brian's on the same page. Personally, Brian, with respect, I think that only having one DMC. Well, hang on, just quickly. If we were to go to have one DMC, I feel like we'd get overrun. Even if you put Kulu and Kane and drop them both back in, I think that Maddison and Dewsbury Hall, they'd have an absolute.
We don't know who they're playing yet, though. That's the thing.
No,
because of their second leg, you have.
I still think you probably need both of them if they are fit.
Yeah,
you need both of them, and I think the change should come from somewhere else.
This whole system relies on having 2 DMs in there.
Yeah,
this whole system relies on having them 2 DMs there.
I'd be happy to see Kane drop down into a 3-5-2 though, 100%.
The big issue that we found is that with his kind of sticking with the 3-4-3, you rely on those wide players to do more than just being creative out wide. They also need to be able to do things where they can come inside, be more a bit inverted. And really what those midfielders are supposed to be doing is just recycling the ball and kind of keeping the shape, and then also keeping kind of discipline defensively. And what's happening is that the wingbacks have been so atrocious that now we're kind of asking Bentancur and Højbjerg to also do all the creative work, where it's not really their responsibility as much as it is probably the wingbacks to be sort of those players. And that's, I think, kind of connecting to that sort of question where I actually think they will be the downfall of our top 4, if I'm being honest. If we don't win certain games, it seems like it's been the common denominator with Brighton. I don't really think the midfield wasn't great, but I think it's just a condition of the wingbacks being absolutely atrocious, which kind of just hurts the rest of the team. I think you look at Brentford, it's the same thing. And I'm a bit worried that teams that do want to set up like Brentford and Brighton did will just have the wingbacks be targeted. And will they actually pull out the performances to get us, to the position we need to be? I really don't think they will. But I think what we can hope for is maybe teams to be naive, which has actually happened before. We maybe can hope for teams like Leicester, teams like Liverpool, teams like even maybe Arsenal to an extent, who won't play that sort of way. They won't use the Brighton or the Brentford, kind of blueprint for how to beat us. And they'll play their brand of football, and they'll come up against ours, and we might actually punish them for it. So what I actually hope for is fewer teams actually use that blueprint against us, because whether you think it's player performances or tactics or anything, we do know that there is some sort of way to play against Spurs to cause them trouble. And all I hope for is that the teams that we do come up against just play a bit more naive, because I think then we just have more of a chance at the end of the day.
The thing is, right,
and then you don't have to worry about the wingbacks.
I can fully understand calling for a change, right? But it's like giving a chef just a lump of butter and saying, make me a 5-star Michelin course meal. All he can do is produce butter because it's all he's got. If you give him the whole ingredients, you give him Wagyu beef, stuff to make Caesar salad, stuff to make a creme brulee or whatever it is, then if the quality is not up to standard, then you can say, okay, well, you have everything at your disposal. You're not good enough.
But we're not just a lump of butter, Dave. We do have options where we could change it. It's not we are not just a lump of butter. We do have some eggs. We do have a little bit of milk. We might be able to, concoct an omelette at least. Something can happen.
I think also, Conte, he's from the part of Italy that uses olive oil, not butter, as well.
Let me finish saying what I'm going to say. Right. The thing is, we can easily sit here and scream, say, take Emerson out. He's not good enough going forward. Fully agree with you. He's not good enough going forward. But who's the only player that won headers against Brentford from set pieces last week?
Emerson, yeah.
So if you take him out, you're going to concede goals from set pieces. You're not going to be able to compete in the air as much. So there's everyone that is playing right now currently adds something to this system. And once you take it out, something like, so it's all well and good saying, okay, take out Emerson, put in Bergwijn, which I would like to do. But if we don't create enough going forward, we end up conceding goals at the back. What good is it to us? Everybody has their little parts to the system to be able to get us to the thing. And everybody knows the part. But like I keep going back to, no one was questioning Emerson when he was stepping in, playing in some of them games.
Yeah.
You know, when he played against Man City when we won. Nobody was questioning Session when he had a good performance against Leeds, started off quickly, and other games. The difference is that top four, the pressure is on the players and they couldn't handle it. It was in their hands. Every single player performed. Bentancur, Kane, Son, Kulu, and I'm going to go through the whole team here. Every single one of them performed up until we were sitting in top four. As soon as we get top four, all of a sudden, everyone is off it. That's because the pressure, they cannot handle it. It's not down to tactics. It's not down to systems.
I don't know. I disagree, mate. I think you might be an element of it, the mentality. Maybe they shit themselves, bit of gravity sets in, and they want to come back down to a safe, happy sixth. But for me, I think even the form like Brighton and Brentford set up. I'm not suggesting for a start that Leicester will even set up the way that Brentford and Brighton do. So maybe that it's not as
necessary. Playing for our hands.
Yeah. So maybe the 3-4-3 will work better, and the same formation might work just fine tomorrow. But generally speaking, against teams that do set up with the forwards pressing and the midfielders, cutting out the channels, and they suffocate the midfield and force us to go out wide, knowing full well that we can't do much when we haven't got aggressive, forward playing wing backs. I feel like you need to have a plan B. And against Aston Villa, we had a plan B, and we went long. Against
Session was doing stuff though. We were only praising Session a couple of weeks ago for doing stuff. Why is he stopped now? Why are we saying now he's he's not good enough? He was good enough.
No, but against Leeds are a team that play their formation that they don't set up. Everton, for whatever reason, when they came to Tottenham, we won 5-0. They played their own stupid style of football. They didn't care about the setup. But the teams that do set up to play against Tottenham with the same formation that was started by Southampton away, that was almost used successfully by Watford away, then was used successfully by Southampton at home, by Wolves at home, by Burnley away, by Middlesbrough away, and by Brentford and by Brighton, all use the same setup, and we haven't figured out how to do it. And I think that we need to do. Yeah. I don't even know why Harry Kane didn't at least just drop deep.
Just quickly, though, isn't the point that needs to be made is that, which I think Sean is right, Dave, if I'm being honest, but the solace I can find is that this problem that Sean is bringing up, I only imagine it being a problem for the rest of this season. It's not going to be a problem for the future, because if we do bring in the right wing backs that can do the jobs and the instruction that Conte is asking, I don't think we would be experiencing this problem where teams would be setting up that way, because nobody would dare try to do that. If you have that many players out wide, that can actually hurt you in those sort of areas. There's no way you would want to pack, the midfield, because you would get punished. So I think it's just a problem that we can find solace in, that it is just going to be a problem for the rest of this season and the rest of these 5 games alone. And there could be actually a bit of happiness in that the next 3 games are, I don't know if they're going to set up with that blueprint. Maybe the last 2 games they might, but who knows? Maybe we'll figure it out.
No one's going to give them monkeys because they're down, so they'll go. They'll want to go out with a bang. They ain't going out with a whimper. Is that Carrow Road? They'll be full going out.
Yeah.
For me,
Burnley might be an interesting one.
For me, though, I completely disagree, because you go into any Man City channel, any Liverpool fan channel, you think any of their fans are asking their managers to change up the tactics depending on the game? No, they're not. Top managers don't do that. We knew that once we got Conte in, that this guy is not going to be a guy that's going to adapt to other teams. We
adapted against Villa. We went long against Villa. That wasn't an adaptation.
That wasn't a change in formation, though, was it?
No, it was a change in tactic. I'm not asking us to change the 3-4-3 to go back 4. I'm even saying against, why can't Harry Kane could have come deep like he did against Newcastle? In Newcastle, we were 1-0 down, then it was 1-0. Second half,
Harry Kane. If you go back and look at the average positions, but if you go back and look at the average positions of Harry Kane over the last 2 games, exact same average position that he was against Newcastle, exact same average position that he was against other games. The difference is yes, they blocked up the middle. They may have had their tactics, but this is the way football is. Lower teams adjust their tactics to bigger teams. Bigger teams do not adjust their tactics to smaller teams. How comes Liverpool?
What's the solution then?
No, but the thing is, how comes other teams can actually rest some of their good players in these games and still play the same way and find a solution? Because the difference is the hunger in the personnel to be able to make the difference. We didn't have that. Not once did you see one of them players try and skin a Brighton player or Brentford player to take them out of the game and create some space. Not once.
What's the solution? What's
the solution? Is this, Sean? That's the solution.
What's the
without saying
short term? What's the short term solution? How do we? If you believe it's all about the mentality, how do we figure that one out in the next 24 hours?
Well, it's not going to. It's going to happen in the January transfer. It's going to happen in summer transfer window.
So then you expect nothing to change for tomorrow?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
doesn't play as badly.
I expect
What's
the
funny
next
is
3
both
games
of your
to play into our
solutions
hands.
involve the summer transfer window. To be
The, ne-
fair,
the
both
next
of your
the
solutions
next 3
involve.
games will play into our hands. Leicester will leave a lot more space for us at the back in behind them. So will Liverpool and so will Arsenal. The next 3 games will play into our hands.
Okay,
But the
Burnley?
thing is, but the thing,
But-
no, the
Sure,
thing is,
sure,
hold on,
sure,
you're
I
missing
have
the
to come
point,
in
though,
here.
lad. What I'm
I have
saying
to
is,
come in here. I'm going to
nobody
come in.
asks-
Sorry, go on, David.
Nobody asks Guardiola or Klopp to change their tactics. Nobody. Their players
We're
don't.
not them.
believe in
We're not Man City yet, are we? We're not Liverpool. We're
Sure,
not Man
sure. I'm
City.
going to wrap this up in a nice, tidy bow for everyone, because it doesn't
I
matter
can't
what
manage it.
it doesn't matter what channel you go on, or how long we spend on whatever channel on this topic. I think everyone, all 4 here, and everyone in all the chats everywhere know that it's null and void, because tomorrow, and the words of Mike Bassett, we will play 3-4 fucking 3. It's not going to change.
Why do we do that? Because top managers don't change their formations.
But
That's why.
this is the thing. We can all say, I personally, and the formation I loved and the best I think we played this season is still Liverpool, which was 3-5-2, where he had the flexibility of a bigger stretch, or not bigger, but he had more available players. And I personally love that formation. I think the players we've got, and if we can get players regularly fit, 3-5-2 is the way forward.
We could do that tomorrow, though, can't we? We could do that tomorrow.
Yeah, but you haven't. No, we can with a Winks, but I don't want it with a Winks. If you said we had Ollie Skip fit, I'd go 3-5-2 all day long. That is the difference that Ollie Skip would make. I would take 3-5-2 with Ollie Skip in that midfield every day of the week.
You don't think Kulusevski could do the job?
Maybe he could, but I don't think right now is the time to experiment.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if we experiment and it screws up and it backfires, then we're like, well, we tried something.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So
then we'll be going, why the fuck did we do that? Yeah.
Exactly. Like you said with Cooley, if we play him at right back and he plays well, and we say, well, why don't we do that? But then if we play him at right back, as I've been saying, if we play him or someone else at right back, and you've got Emerson on the bench to kind of boost things up, in what kind of world, if you make Kulusevski a sub at right back, or Mora or Bergwijn, and you see they're going off and Emerson is to come on and change the game, you're like, oh my God. So it doesn't matter how many times we discuss this, it ain't going to change. It ain't going to change. And I'm sure tomorrow, win, lose or draw, we'll be saying, yes, well done for sticking, or no, why didn't he change it, or for fuck's sake, top 4 is over.
Let's all agree. Whatever happens tomorrow, win, lose or draw, nobody does any I told you so's, okay? No one does any I told you so's.
Oh no!
I would agree to that any day, Sean. I would agree to that.
If we win and we play the 3-4-3, and a lot of the exact same players play, I will be saying I told you so. I found myself doing that a lot this season. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Hell of a lot.
Great debate, gentlemen. The bottom dude in here.
We're not having this discussion on Bob Spurs TV after. That's for damn sure. I won't allow it anymore. 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 2-2-2. Who gives a? It's going to make no difference.
I'll be back in 1 second.
He's going to put in the earplugs. He's going to put the
earplugs. Jack, you got to admit, Jack. I mean, and right, I can see why it's dominating so much chat about the formation, about the tactics, who's going to play, whatever. We know. Even when we're going win, lose, we're like, change it up. 3-4-3, 3-4-3, 3-4-3, 3-4-3. It's not changing.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not changing.
You're disdain.
Like you said, till the end of the season. Till the end of the season, this is what we got. This is what we got.
Disdain for it is the same whenever Dave would get into the Harry Kane debate in the beginning of the season with people. I was the same thing as Brian, where I would just be like,
which I won,
putting in the earplugs and just kind of sit there, because I would just lose all interest. I'm the same way, Brian. And I figured we found a similar one. The bottom dude is saying, as a Spurs fan, do you want to see Conte play with 3 midfielders next season? If so, do you want a 4-3-3 or a 3-5-2? If it's a 3-5-2, then Kulu will go to a right wing back. Otherwise, he doesn't play. Thoughts? I feel like we need to be able to have both available to us. That's why you do go for a midfielder, I think, this summer, because then we can have that flexibility like Brian was talking about, where we could do the 3-5-2 when the 3-5-2 just makes more sense, maybe against a certain opponent. And then we go with the 3-4-3 when it makes most sense against that opponent. And then what actually probably happens is, while Kulusevski might get dropped out, you're putting in maybe a quality midfielder and replacement that just offers you something a bit different. There will be games where maybe players like Kulusevski will probably be, dropped out, in case that, it just suits the whole of the team, a bit better. I had just hoped that we do have a good enough summer to bottom due to where we can do the 3-5-2 as well as the 3-4-3. I just don't want to struggle where we just, debate over which one is better. I want to say that both of us can have, or both formations can be good enough for us next season. I actually don't even want him to switch to a 4 in the back, because I think he's most successful with his versions of a back 5 as well. So that's my answer. I want to have 3 midfielders available so that we can do that 3-5-2, but I also want him to switch it up to 3-4-3, and that might mean Kulu gets dropped, which at the end of the day is what needs to happen if you want to actually challenge for things.
So you know what, Jack? That's the thing, and this is the problem we have at Tottenham Hotspur. And the bottom deuce brings up a great point, but it shouldn't be then Kulu has nowhere. The thing I moan about the whole time is Kane has to play every single game if he's fit. He never gets a rest. He never gets to go, listen, sit on the bench, or listen, we're playing in the Carabao Cup away to Gillingham. You're not needed. He
never gets to go to the Masters and knows that he's not playing.
No,
that
but you know what I mean? It comes to the point. You look at Liverpool. Diaz has gone there. Jota's gone there. They know they're not going to play every game. That's how they're so fresh and how they go on these runs, because they don't expect the player, right, you're playing 38 games. No team win the league with the same 11 players playing. You need to be able to give Kulu game management. Say, right, listen, we're 4-0 up in a European leg. We don't need the big hitters for the second leg. You're staying at home so someone else can play. You can stay fresh. You might not pick up an injury. What if Kulu had got that red card against Brighton? That's what you need. People like to come in and challenge Kulu. Kulu right now is a first name on the team sheet. Well, obviously not the first, but like you can be, you know what I mean? He is. No. If he's fit, he plays. We need competition. We need to be able to say to some of our big hitters, right, you're not playing 38 games. I'd love to say, like I said right now, with Arsenal and Liverpool coming up, I would love to say, Benson Core, listen, sit down for 2 games and have someone else in so you can just, I'll have you on the bench in case you need it, but I need you for these 2 games. I need you desperately for these 2 games. And that's what we've got to look at. So if we do go 3-5-2 and Kulu doesn't play right back, it's like, okay, so you're sitting down for a game. Someone else is good. That's how teams win things. That's how teams win things. I completely understand what the bottom's saying, but we have to stop thinking like me and David got right into it on the Kane debate and how I felt about Kane and his behaviour, but it was because, and now even when he was during that, he had to play because there is no one else that can step into his shoes, and we could have gone, look, Kane, go sort your head out for a week, but when you come back like you came back in January or November, whatever you want to say. But we don't have that option. Son, people were saying Son, and I was critical of Son a few weeks ago, but I've been proven wrong. We don't. If he's fit, he plays, and we've got to stop doing this to our stars because they can't do it.
But we have tried making changes this season. We've done it in Europa Conference League. Where did that get us? Out of it. We do not have the players to come in. Look, I would love to have the flexibility to say, do you know what, today we are going 3-5-2. Next week we will go 3-4-3. The reality of the matter is we just do not have the personnel. Yes, we have a squad there and we have numbers there, but the difference is the quality. It's the quality of the players. And we have a couple of injuries
especially
now,
when it came to the Conference League. Especially when it came to the Conference League, though, like you could have put any formation out there. There just weren't any players that were capable of putting the team on their back themselves. And what was the shocking part was there were players like Dele Alli, Steven Bergwijn, Gio Lo Celso. And I think every single Conference League game, we were always saying at the end of it, I guess Brian Hill was the best player because there would be really nothing to look for. There was no benefit. There was no positives to take from any of those Conference League games. And the biggest maybe red flag you could say was every single Conference League game, the big key factor was Højbjerg, Son, and Kane were always out for those games, and we always saw the team absolutely implode. And that's where kind of the big problem is we just rely on them to get results, even when it comes to the most meager of opposition. We still rely on them to get results. We rely on them to be the babysitters.
The reason why I say it comes down to personnel is a lot of the same squad played against City. We found a way to win the game. Same squad was rolled out against Middlesbrough, and look at the difference in the quality of the chances we created and stuff like that, and the way we played in the games and stuff like that. It comes down to personnel at the end of the day. Look, I've always maintained this. Dyer's had a good season. Davies has had a good season. You may have got others who have come in and chipped in. Are they good enough to be here in the long run? No. And the reason why is the consistency of the results we get on the football pitch, which has been the same problem for the last 2-3 years at this football club. It's personnel, not management.
There you are, Bottom Duda. I think great answers all around from the panel there.
You're on mute now.
Adrian
You're on mute.
That's a shame. I was just going to say, just to finish your sentence, but managers can still change things from time to time.
We'll end it on that. Got more pressing issues.
Adrian Chia answering, I think, the question, the title here with the super chat saying it takes Enoch to splash the cash on the squad in order for us to get challenging for Man City and Liverpool. And we will get to that question very, very soon, Adrian. And I think that is the simple and easy answer that probably just no one can argue with. But big up, Adrian. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for game day as well, Adrian. He's always in here.
Yeah, big up, Adrian. Big up. Just quickly, I'm not so sure it's exactly splash the cash. It's identifying the right players and getting them right. You look at Liverpool, Robertson came from Hull City, Jota came from Wolves. It's about identifying the right players to build the squad. Smartly. You don't have to spend 500 million. You've just got to identify the right quality players and get them in the door.
Yeah, completely agreed. But let's move on to, I think this is an interesting question here, and I think I want to go to Daigle first with it. Conte said that he wants to be challenging for more than just top 4 and European places. He says that he believes he deserves, in fact, to be challenging for more than that. Spurs and Daniel Levy, Brian, have found satisfaction with top 4 very much in the case that they've almost seemed to have treated top 4 as maybe a bit of a trophy, and it's kind of almost seeped into, I think, the culture of the squad. It seeped into the dressing room. It seeped into the boardroom. I think it's actually seeped more into the boardroom than probably the rest of it. That sort of, seeing top 4 as the main achievement. And Conte wants, in fact, more than that. So do you think maybe Conte can change that culture, seeing top 4 as kind of just the only achievement that Spurs go for, Brian? Is that maybe why Conte has been brought in the first place, is to change that culture?
Had he been brought in to change it? I don't think so.
Maybe he doesn't know that he's there to change it.
Is he the only man that can do it? Oh, by hell, God, yes. Oh, by hell, God, yes. This is. Listen, he's already coming out and said, I don't want to go for top 4. I want to go for the title. We may not win it, like we did with Poch with Leicester, like we did with Chelsea. That's what Conte comes into clubs to do. He doesn't come to. He's not I'll get you top 4. He goes, I'll get you challenging for the title. And he's got the stats and the evidence and everything to back it up. The one thing that I said when Conte came is this is the manager that is either going to do it, or if he leaves, he will go out and we will all know why. Like when he left Inter, we all knew why. Like when he left, he will not go quietly. He's got to be. He has got to be. Do
you think that's been? Do you think it's? Because I think, Brian, we can all agree that sort of obsession with top 4, and then top 4, once you get it, it's good enough. I think that it's worst with the boardroom, but do you think it's also kind of the case with the players a little bit? Do you think it's kind of seeped into them where they kind of have also just seen top 4 as like the achievement and then nothing really beyond that?
That's what the team currently have. And like when David keeps talking about mentality, this is a huge issue. This is a huge issue. And I'm not going to, I'll just say, as I always say, or as a lot of people say, fish rots from the head first. It's been an acceptance that's allowed at this club. And we mentioned managers before when David said it happened under Poch. It happened under AVB, where we should have got fourth, but we blew it. We had it under Martin Yole, where we could have fourth to the Daniel Gate, but we stumbled over the line. In fact, This has not been. This isn't a new thing. And the players there now. You look at it. When certain managers leave clubs or players leave clubs, they say, "Big up, Wayne." They say that they got us as far as they could go, and we want to go a step further. Well, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. We instead of these players that kept getting us to semi-finals and finals or into the top four, but then blowing the title chance, we've given them new contracts. We've just been like, well done, you exceeded our expectations. You didn't get the job done. Here you go, have some more money. Stay with us for a bit longer. And it's just not. And the main thing, and Sean's heard me say a long time, there's no. Every single time we bring in a manager is with a completely different philosophy to the previous one. So you get excess players that manager doesn't need. So he clears them out and brings players in for his philosophy. But then you get rid of him and you bring in someone else with a different philosophy.
It's a perpetuating cycle.
There's just no cohesion. There's no. Listen, I would love to see Tottenham Hotspur just play attacking football like we did under Pete Poch, and that's the way we go. But after Jose, if you'd hired another defensive manager, yes, we might not have liked the style of football, but you would have had players that suit that may not be the players he wants, but play in the system that he plays, rather than chopping, changing. And I think Conte
we hired a defensive manager and asked him to play attacking football.
Exactly. Or we hire an attack. We hire a defensive one and go, go all out attack. There's no chance of it.
I completely agree on that point, Brian.
There's no
one of the point you make that point a lot, and it's so true, and that is Daniel Levy's. Just quickly though, just to correct you, that is on Daniel Levy. Just to correct you, one point: fish don't actually rot from the head down. The first part of the fish's body to rot is their intestinal systems, but it's a long held myth from the 1600s. But I take your point, but fish don't actually rot.
Mate, have I come on to bloody university challenge or something? Jesus Christ!
Fact checked on fish.
It's a fact check.
Metaphor fact check. A metaphor fact check. But Brian, I think you were on a good point there. I didn't want you to lose that. Did you want to?
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No. It's like I said. Getting back to the main point of the question, it's like you see people saying, you see Kane, you've seen Son, you've seen a lot of them come out and say, "My God, Romero, that Conte is the real deal." Well, you knew he was the real deal, but they're seeing that he's taking them up levels that they never thought they had, and now it just comes to the fact that he's got to be backed and getting what he needs. This is the manager. The question is Conte the man to do this? Oh hell yes, he is. And if he isn't, then God help us. God help us.
Well, if he isn't, then who is? At that stage.
Thank you.
Do you think, Sean, that there's been like a culture maybe around the club that top four is seen as a trophy? And I know even just earlier we were obsessing about talking about top four. It's written in the fan base maybe as well. Do you think Conte can be the one to change that? I don't know, do you think he could be the one to change that? Do you even think that's a problem, the way that Spurs look at top four? Do you think I'm even making this up? Maybe that's not actually how Spurs look at things.
I think it is, right? But I think it's born out of two things. It's born out of necessity, in as much as there is just an absolute gulfing difference around what you can do, and money does talk. As much as you guys, or we might not like the person who's in charge of the money at Tottenham. It's just a reality that money talks, right? So and then you have to also recognise the fact that there are 2 or 3 teams that are miles and miles above. They are miles and miles above the rest of the pack in the Premier League. And so, most of the time, I know in 2017, 16, whenever we went on a couple of years of challenging for the Premiership when Leicester did it, and that was because there was a few other teams that are those top 3 teams that were having their own transitions and their own rebuilds at the time. So, one black swan doesn't make, isn't enough to suggest that all swans are black, and one swallow doesn't make a summer. What I would say though is that, to some people, not to all, I know there's a lot of people in the online community that value winning a trophy, winning a Carabao Cup or winning an FA Cup far higher than finishing top 4. personally, like I've been to 2 FA Cup finals. I've been to three Carabao Cup finals. I went to the one we lost against Blackburn. I went to the one at Manchester United where we lost on penalties, and I went to the one where I've been to 4. I went to one in where we beat Leicester in '98, and I went to the one where we beat Chelsea. Right, so I've seen us lift the trophy.
Oh, sure. Let me just come in with one mistake for you. 1999, sir. 1999, if you check your facts.
Fair enough. So I've seen us lose 2 cup finals, and I've seen the 1991 FA Cup final loss as well, win as well. So I've seen us lift 3 trophies. I can't remember a single moment from any of those games. I can remember the header from Alan Nielsen, right, when he scored against Leicester in 1999. I can't remember any other moment. What I can remember though and I remember them, vividly, is Gareth Bale doing his majestic hat trick against Milan. I can remember getting so excited about playing on Wednesday nights when you watch on the TV and you hear the Champions League music and you see all the kids in the centre circle waving the giant football flag thing. Like football's about memories, and for me, being in the Champions League is a bigger deal to me than lifting a trophy. I know I might be in a pool of 1 on that one, but for me, finishing top 4, it's not a trophy, but it's more than a trophy. And it also provides you with additional funds to be able to then go on and rebuild the squad with the hope that in the next season or the seasons to come, you can then create a team that have a better chance of doing everything, finishing the top 4 and winning, trophies, or going on for a Premier League push. So I think it's out of necessity that top 4 has that mindset.
Yeah,
top 4 is so important. It's a priority. I think it does lead to other things, but also for some people, myself included, I think playing on Wednesday nights is more fun than being at FA Cup finals or Carabao Cup finals. That's just my take on it. In terms of winning the Premiership, I think it's just a hard one to do, isn't it? The teams that we're competing with are so stronger, so much stronger.
I think you're right, because you're acknowledging that, yes, it is somewhat in the culture, but the reason there's somewhat of an explanation behind it, because there's kind of financial implications and reasons for why it's part of it. It has to be kind of a benchmark, because you can only go so far if you're not making top 4. You need to make top 4 and only to really, continue to push and go further. Maybe the big issue that's been, though, is that we've been making top 4 consistently, but what have we actually done with it, and actually to progress further from there is the big question. But I really do agree with you. Dave, do you think maybe this cultural change is kind of maybe worse, or do you think this culture of, seeing top 4, is kind of the end all be all, once you get there, that's kind of, enough? Do you think that's kind of most maybe guilty with kind of the boardroom, the players, where does it lie? Where is it most guilty?
See, look, where I sit on this is, why can't you build a mentality and have an ambition to kind of be able to build a squad towards competing for trophies and competing for the Premier League title? Because in turn, that will bring you into a top 4 race naturally. Once you have that ambition and you set it higher, you would and you are up there challenging and you're doing it every way possible. Naturally, that will bring you top 4 every single season. Now, look, I agree with Sean that, Champions League gives you fantastic memories. It really does. But man, Harry Kane wants trophies. Son wants trophies. Players want to lift trophies. That's what a lot of players want. That's what, when you're a young kid running around, you dream of lifting a World Cup. You dream of, maybe not so much anymore, but you dream of winning an FA Cup, or you used to. You dream of scoring the winning goal to win Tottenham the Premier League, And that started from a 5-year-old. Now, why can't that just go right the way up through the club? And why can't you have that aim of going to challenge for the Premier League, which will naturally get you top 4 most seasons, rather than having that target of just being inside the top 4? Have the target of achieving higher, which you will get top 4. And along the way, you'll bring an FA Cup with it. You'll bring a League Cup with it. Look, for me, it's all about physically lifting them trophies. It's all about having your name on the bottom of that trophy with the year beside it. It's all about me jumping around with my father, celebrating once we lift a trophy. Having them memories. That's what football is about. I don't jump around. If my old lad was to ever pass, I'm not going to sit there and talk about all the times we jumped around because we got top 4. I'm not going to do it. For me, that's failure. That's failure. 4th is failure. 2nd is failure. Look, you can always say, look, we gave it a good go, but it's failure. Conte wants trophies. Conte's not here for top four. Conte is here to lift trophies. What I will remember, if my father ever went or whatever else, is the time we won the League Cup. And that's sad. I should have more memories than that I can physically remember at a decent age. But I have that League Cup. Jonathan Woodgate and that. But, man, trophies is the pinnacle of the sport. Trophies is why everybody gets into it. What players wants to win. And at the end of the day, you aim for trophies. Top four will come with that along the way. Now, look, we don't have the oligarch money. We just do not have it. So there's no point in sitting here complaining, going, why can't we spend 500 million like City? Why can't we spend, like Chelsea were spending? But what we should be questioning is, and what I've seen along in the figures that we have spent, if you look at our figures and Liverpool's figures, I think you'll find they're more or less in and around the same ballpark. Maybe Liverpool that might have that little bit more. But the difference is having the foundations in place at the club to be able to deliver that sort of thing. Like Liverpool, their team, you go through the back line. Trent Alexander came through the academy. Robertson came from Hull. Van Dijk came from Southampton. They're not buying off the likes of the big clubs because they can't afford it. But what they do is they pick the players off the small clubs and buy very smart. And they get their targets. And that's the way Tottenham can go about it. That's the great equalizer. Why can't we be the underdog that wants to aim high? Why?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I've got to say on that, Sean, is obviously I'm with David. Give me a Carabao Cup next season. I'll bite your hand off for it. Because if I look at it back now, and I look at my dad who was born in 1953, when I got to that age of saying, Dad, talk to me about he would speak to me about 61, the FA Cup teams, the UEFA Cup teams. He would talk to me, obviously, about the great players, like his two favourite were Alan Gilzean and Dave Mackay. And obviously Jimmy Greaves. And they will talk about players. But when I spoke to my dad and I was growing up and then getting to the age where obviously I knew a lot about Tottenham, my dad always spoke to me about trophy-winning teams. And he didn't speak to me, that day when we beat this team by 5-1. Like, one of the biggest things that I always know is Bill Nicholson's first game in charge of Tottenham was a 10-4 win against Everton. I found out about that from me looking up Spurs history. Not when when I said, Dad, who should I support? He didn't go, I remember the day we beat Everton 10-4. That's what we're doing right now. Like you said, I saw Gareth Bale's hat-trick. I saw Mora's hat-trick.
I'm just telling you how. Like, my dad was born in '53 as well. I grew up listening to him tell the stories about all those massive moments. He bought me a season ticket every year from the age of 7 until I went to university at 20 or whatever it was. Right, so I saw all the FA Cup. I went there with him to Wembley 4 or 5. I went to Cardiff, once for the Blackburn final. When I speak to him today and we reminisce on the Ajax moment. We reminisce on the Champions League stuff. Like, I've never spoken to him since the day that we lost to Blackburn. All I can remember about that day is that the traffic jam on the way home took about 6 hours. I can't remember a single ball that was kicked. I totally understand the point you guys are making. I'm just saying from a personal perspective, the memories that I have in my head were when we qualified for the Champions League and we were playing against Barcelona, we were playing against Bayern Munich, and that all started under Harry Redknapp. For me, that was when I started to get my long memory bank working on Tottenham's achievements. And I know that it's not the same for everyone. I totally get it. It's just for me, playing at the highest level, playing against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and Barcelona and Inter and Milan and all that stuff, to me means more than having 6 games, 4 of which are against non-league or lower league opposition, and then beating Chelsea in the cup final in 2008. Like,
when you put it in that sort of context, that is, when you do put it in that sort of context. I just want to say quickly as well, Sean, like, there are a lot of people who see it that way. And I think fans of other clubs also look at that way. Like, I think a Burnley fan would see it that sort of way. I think they like winning a trophy for them would be nice. But like, I think them getting into like Europa League is actually much bigger than maybe winning a trophy. But I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong. And also I probably shouldn't even compare a Burnley fan's mentality to ours. I think that doesn't really suit. But yeah, sorry, Dave, I cut across you.
I do want to jump into defense of Sean in a minute, because I don't think he done what he's trying to say justice, and I'll explain why in a second. But Sean, do you take my point of that we can aim for a Premier League? Or
yeah. No, I definitely take it. Yeah,
top 4 will come.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Like there are different ways that we can still get.
But that's what
top four.
Conte. That's what
Aim high, finish
Daniel
low.
Levy can't set that. Daniel Levy doesn't talk to the players every day. He's not in the changing room. He
Yeah.
can set that
No, he's just
standard
having
by
breakfast
opening the
with them.
checkbooks. He can set the standard by opening the checkbooks or whatever, right? And saying allowing these good players to come in. But that's up to Conte, the coaches, and the leaders on the pitch, the Harry Kanes and that, to figure out the mentality themselves and then penetrate that through. But I take your point 100%. Aim for the stars, land on the sky.
No, great. I love that. Now, here's
He
where
does come up with blinders. He does come up with Sean, you need to open up your own like birthday card kind of thing.
Yeah, the
But
metaphor, man.
that's what you need
I'm
to
pretty
do.
sure I'd be done for plagiarism. They're just commonly known.
But here's where I do want to come in and kind of maybe, in defense of Sean. But just quickly, Peter Spillane says, great show, wife in hospital at the minute. So a win would cheer me up a bit. Man, I hope you're okay. Honestly, it's not nice. It's hard times when people are in hospitals and that. So I really do hope you're okay, my man, and that she's
Speedy
okay.
recovery.
But she's in the best place for her. That's all we can say to you, my man. But big up. Hopefully she's okay. But here's where I do want to come in and jump in for Sean is because the reason why Sean is saying what he says is because, look, he hasn't brought them up today because he shouldn't actually have to bring them up every single time he makes this point. But when he was first making this point, when he first started coming on the channel, he had the statistics of, how many clubs actually win trophies over the last. Remember, you used to come with them, Sean, and
86% of all trophies in the last 22 years have been won by 5 teams.
And stuff. And I do think we also do have to take that into account. We have to take that into account that there are established teams that have won trophies notoriously and that having the oligarch money does propel you into that category. But and that's why Sean is saying what he says. But as well, I just don't see why we cannot aim higher, aim to do it a different way by meticulous planning and stuff like that and achieve it in a different way.
Yeah. But aim high, finish lower, maybe is the way you're also saying it, Dave. Maybe the problem is that, and that's what the question is more or less saying is, do Spurs see that as the ceiling? Is top 4 like the way the culture at the club has been seeing that as sort of the ceiling?
It has been.
Seen as is that seen as overachievement? Is that seen as, the end all be all? And maybe I think you're right, Dave. Like they should just shoot a bit higher than that. And then if they happen to just continue to finish with top 4, like they can see that is also acceptable, but they shouldn't see that as maybe the ceiling of success. And that's maybe what the problem is it seems like that's sort of the ceiling of the success that they want to achieve, which is just not what Spurs fans are happy with anymore. But good debate there, to be fair. The bottom dude is saying Conte.
Oh, sorry, mate. Go on. Yeah, sorry.
No. Yeah, sorry, Sean.
I was just going to say it's the like a changing of mindset. Like I used to think, like I've got to take my dog for the walk, versus I get to take my dog for a walk. Right, like changing the mindset, like you kind of shift the energy around it, rather than we're trying to hang on to 4th spot. We're only going to finish 4th this year is a better way of looking at it, rather than we're just about to finish. We hopefully can finish top 4 this year by changing the way that you think about the target. You maybe shift the energy around reaching better goals. Sorry, Jack. It wasn't even worth the interruption, to be honest.
No, it wasn't.
I get to do my Tottenham walks. I have to do my Tottenham walks. I would say, Sean, just for the sake of your own fan base, say that I get to do my Tottenham
Sean
walks.
has seen
I
the
wouldn't
light.
say I have to. Never say you have to. The bottom dude is saying Conte is my favorite manager, but he needs to be a bit more patient and realistic. Things won't change overnight at Spurs. At Chelsea, he had players who were used to winning. At Inter, there wasn't much competition. Signing 6 to 8 players is unrealistic. I think 6 players, considering how much we might be able to sell this summer, I think bringing in 6 is actually a possibility. The quality of all 6 certainly will be put into question. There might be, a few corners, cut, made by Paratici and Levy. But I think 6 is realistic. But yeah, 6 to 8 players, maybe with also the ambition of the sort of quality of players that Conte wants. Maybe it's a bit too soon, too much too soon. At the same time, though, Conte just seems like that sort of guy that just doesn't like to wait around. He just wants to see ambition, and ambition is just reflected a lot more quickly in his eyes than, over some long gradual process that maybe other managers expect. He wants the results. He wants the ambition. He wants the investment right away. To bottom Duda, and I don't know. I mean, Dave, what do you think? Is he being unrealistic? Is he being a bit impatient? Do you think, Antonio Conte? It's a good question.
No,
it's a good point.
I don't think he is being impatient, to be honest with you. Look, I can understand what the Bolton do is saying. If you look at Tottenham and where we are right now, that there probably is patience the right thing to have, but I don't believe so. I think, look, they've built the stadium, they've built the training facilities, whether people like to admit it or not, they're absolutely world class. But what we need now is the football inside to come with it, and we have a chance to push on and be an elite club. Now, there's no point in keeping these training facilities and having Conte here and wasting the facilities on Winks, end them lard ass coming back. You know what I mean? You've got Lascelles, something like that. There's no point in wasting facilities on players who do not want to use them to improve themselves, to get better. And the reason why they don't do that is because they don't have the right mentality to be at Tottenham anyway, of a club that has ambitions, or fans anyway, at the start of every season has that ambition of, maybe we can sneak a trophy here. At the end of the day, I want someone to come in and challenge things. I don't want to go dormant like we have the last couple of years. That hurts me. It's hurt every single one of us. Whether you're Levy in or Levy out, it doesn't matter. It's hurt every single Spurs fan to the core. We should not have Burnley fans singing to us. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. We should not have lower league fans singing that to us. It's just like, there's respect in life. Tottenham have always been in the Premier League, since its formation. Respect us. They should not be singing that to us. Clubs that are up and down like a yo-yo should not be singing that to us. And at the end of the day, Conte, I have no problem with him coming in, having demands, because he wants to bring us to a place where all of us Spurs fans, leave you in, leave you out. We all have different ideas and ways to get there, but most of us want the one thing, which is to be at the pinnacle. And it's only going to take managers with ambition to come in and do that, rather than, look, I'd rather have a Conte here, someone that has ambition and that has the sights on winning things, rather than bringing in a Harry Potter who's happy to sit there and go, do you know what? Yeah, this is going to take 2-3 years, and accept that it's going to take a slow process in the transfer window. Accept that he's going to have to work with some of these shit houses that keep upsetting me most weeks. Accept that. Just accept everything's going to be slow. No, time waits for no man. Time is precious. You could be dead in the morning. Sometimes you got to speed up the process, and that's what Conte does. Going to Potter and stuff like that is going backwards. If we do that, we're at where United are at now, where they have to just completely have a reset. We don't have to do that. We have a better stadium than them, better training facilities. We've got a better manager. Now is the time to push on, get back into that top four, and then, hopefully we can do that this season, and the next season have the ambition to catch people, because time waits for no man. I could be dead tomorrow, and I don't want to die not fucking seeing my club win something.
Dave's definitely one of those guys who listens to the, dance like it's the last night of your life, sort of songs. For sure.
Dance like nobody's watching.
This could be the last night of our lives, like sort of songs.
My motto is definitely day like it's your last night.
Well said, Dave. That was a good speech, mate. That was nice.
Thank you.
To be honest about him, dude, just to summarize, 6 players I think is plenty doable. 8 players, probably not. But 6 should be doable. And you're right about the mentality differences between the two clubs that he's worked for previously. Does he need to be a bit more impatient and realistic? I don't know. I guess according to Dave, he wants him to be throwing more tantrums and with Paratici, in Daniel Levy's office. So that's the answer to bottom, dude. Big up though, my man, and really, really generous as well. Really, really generous.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. And I do, I just quickly, I do kind of understand what the Bolton do is saying. It's like Conte's only here for 18 months and stuff like that, and whatever, it's a short period of time. I do get that. But for me, the only way the ambition is going to change is if a manager comes in and changes it. And he doesn't accept mediocrity.
Agreed. Yeah. Adrian Chia in here saying, as an overseas fan, we can't travel to games easily. Sure, we played great games, but staying awake at weird hours for years without any trophies is painful.
You
you probably want to look at it. It's like, wow, I've gotten up and I've lost this much sleep in my life. I've caused myself this much dementia for nothing tangible to hold on to. I think that is a damning way to look at it, Adrian. I actually agree with you there. Sorry, Brian.
It is, Jack. Like I said, you and me, me more so than ever now. You've known nothing different. I've done this. And then obviously there's people on the West Coast that are getting up. Like, for instance, like the Scotland Yard opens up for us any game day we want, any time we want, even the 12:30 kickoffs, which are like 7:30 in the morning here. So there's times where I'll get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, get up, have a coffee and a bowl of cereal or something, have a shower, leave here, especially in winter in like minus 20 degrees, to get to a pub to watch a game. But then on the other side, there's people that are staying up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, then going to work the next day and having to try to stay awake the whole time. And that, what Adrian's just said here is bang on the money. And obviously, I knew people were doing that across the world, but obviously I didn't get to feel what they're experiencing until I moved out here. Yeah, it's not easy, and that's the thing. Obviously, again, you can go on about the easiest one to say is the Moura hat-trick or the Bergwijn or even the Man City game. That when it's games like that, you're like, my God, I'm so happy I woke up so early or stayed up so late. But when at the end of the day, it's just those odd games and not a final, and a final that we have won or something. It really is a big commitment from people all around the world.
Yeah, no, 100%. Big up, Adrian. I mean, look, I haven't had to experience that. I'm lucky I can get the heartache at normal hours. Maybe hours where doctors are on call. But look, look, at the end of the day, I feel sorry for everybody, because if we had trophies, we wouldn't be sitting here arguing. We'd be sitting here abusing other rival teams. And that's what I want to get to at the end of the day. But big up, Adrian. But guys, all this arguing, I think we all need like a little 2-minute break. Sean's giving me headaches. I'm giving Sean headaches over tactics. We're still looking at each other over the screen. I can see it, So we are going to just take a 2-minute break. We're going to bring up some Manscaped for you guys because, look, summer's coming in. No one likes to feel sweaty and hairy. So, you got to trim that bush. You got to make sure it's down to an acceptable 11. And the moral of the story is inches matter. So, look, Jack, let's play them.
Let's take it away. Everybody. Fellas, sit down and listen up. We were all over the place out there, and there is hair everywhere. This is the biggest battle of your lives. We are in hell right now, gentlemen.
Now we can stay here and hide from our hair below, or we can get Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 and do something about it. Fight back 1 inch at a time.
Now I can't do it for you, but I look around and I see your faces, and I see the shame, I see the guilt, I see the embarrassment.
But thankfully, we at the Irish Hotspur have teamed up with Manscaped to help you inch by inch, pube by pube.
We know when you get old in life, hair grows and grows and grows. It's a natural part of life, minute by minute, day by day. The pubes, they just keep on growing and growing. Not only on the crown jewels, but the hair grows in your nose, in your ears as well. We also know, though, that life is busy every minute, and every second counts. And it can be easy to neglect yourself, gentlemen. But you will find out that in life, if you don't love yourself, no one else will love you. And that is life. And life is a game of inches.
Manscaped is crucial. And the margin for error is so small for the inches we need. When you add up all them inches, that's the difference between giving someone a good time and giving someone a time they will never, ever forget. So on this team, we fight for that inch.
And we use the weed whacker for that inch, and we use the plow 2.0 for that inch, and we use the lawnmower 4.0 for that inch.
We know once we add up all them inches, that Manscaped is the difference between winning and losing, between going home alone or going home with someone.
On any given night, it's the guy willing to die for a hairless body who wins that inch. And then I know if I'm going to have the best chance at life, because I am grooming for that extra inch.
Because that's what living is, gentlemen. It's that 6 inches in front of your face. But tonight, look at your partner. Look at them in the eyes. They will see a guy who's willing to go that inch for them.
They will see a guy who's part of the Manscaped team. And that guy, that teammate, uses the ball reviver, and he uses the ball toner to achieve that desired finish for them and for you, because you know when it comes to it, they do the same thing for you. That's what a team is, gentlemen.
The moral of the story is that in life, inches matter. So trim that bush. Let's get after them pubes. It's Manscaped, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you going to do?
Life is a game of inches, everybody. Life is a game of inches. Dave, you're on mute.
I'm off to Manscaped, Jack. I'm too pumped up. It's got me riled up. I have to go on Manscaped.
Give you a standing ovation for that one. That one.
Any given pube day.
That was. If there are Oscar for YouTube promos, you have just taken a clean sweep, mate. That is banging.
We're not looking for any creator awards this year. We're looking for the Manscaped Awards. You know, we're hoping to grab the Tony for it. We're looking to be on stage, maybe even, you know, have a few curse words, you know, spoken at, you know, the host for it, perhaps. But, but yeah, everybody, 20% off. Use that code FLACCAP.
Keep my wife's pubic hair out of your mouth.
20% off. Use the code FLACCAP, everybody, especially if you haven't gone over there already. Do use it because it really does support us over at the Irish Hotspur, and also as well supports you. Like we said, life is a game of inches. Don't want to be missing out. And also as well, everybody do just want to say thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this episode of the Irish Hotspur. But we move on, Dave, and I just wanted to quickly say we put in the links to everybody's channel because I think we probably should have done that maybe a while ago. We have Sean's channel here. Brian's channel is here from Tottenham on Tour as well. So everybody do head on over there. Doesn't even, like Sean says, doesn't even take you away from the video. Just head on over there, hit that big shiny red button because they do deserve it. But I think we have, hopefully, Brian, maybe we can fit in one more question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I've got to a quarter past, so all good, brother.
Jack, would you mind just swapping me back with? I get like a little bit OCD about my position changing on the game.
Absolutely. You're not a left wing back, Sean. You're not a left wing back. You can't play that inverted position. Can't play that inverted position on the panel.
I have to say, when I'm on with Brian Island as well, I can't go where Jack's sitting. It's just
that's better. Yeah. That's the way it was.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
I can see what Sean was getting at. He got there before me, actually. I wasn't going to say anything. I think I could have dealt with it, but on my own channel, like, no. But yeah, well, played Sean.
Just quickly, Faz Radfar saying, back Conte and Paratici, and we will become unstoppable. Give Paratici the funds, and he will embezzle them, as well as he will also give you the right players in. You know, he'll give you everything you need. But also, Conte, I mean, he's going to be throwing tantrums and leave his office, Faz, like we were discussing before, if he doesn't get the backing he wants. But there you are, Faz, my man. And also, hopefully we catch you for game day tomorrow. Do want to have you for game day tomorrow, Faz. Absolute legend. But the title of today's show, Brian, has to do with, you know, this summer, the impending business that will be done, you know, and maybe as we always do on this channel, we get a bit ahead of ourselves. What do you think of the fact that maybe with Conte, if he gets everything that he wants, you know, this summer, let's say an ideal, perfect, utopian like summer where everything goes right, could we maybe challenge the likes of Man City and Liverpool? Could we knock them off their pedestal? Or do you think it would take a lot more than that? Maybe it takes a lot longer.
But it's good that you said this, because I actually get to say something that I was saying with David earlier on today. When you hear We Are Tottenham TV and all the rumours saying Conte seeks assurances and this whole PSG nonsense, do I think there was weight to that PSG rumour? Yes, I do, but not in the way you're going to think. PSG do not want Conte. Period. Reason they don't want him? They want the Champions League. Antonio Conte's Achilles heel is European football. Mm-hmm. At Chelsea, at Inter, at Juve. So this argument is, when you say seek assurances, everyone would automatically think, right, that's about the amount of money. Do I think it's the amount of money is a question? No. I actually think for once the money might be there. But why I think the money might be there is Conte doesn't go £100 million players, £90 million players. He finds players that he knows can play in his system, have the mentality, So it's not all about the big expensive buys. Do I think it's the quantity of players that they're arguing about? No, I don't. I think 6 is very doable. I think we bought 7 for Jose. 6 is very, very doable. It just depends if he gets the players, if he's allowed players to say that if we get a bid for Harry Winks, let's say at 22.5 million, can Conte say yes, that's sell him, and not have Levy go nope 30 or 25, whatever it is.
Right.
Do I think this whole argument or assurances is about the age of player we can bring in? Yes, I do. 100 billion %. Because Conte won't be, I want one for the future. If he says I want a De Vrij, he wants a De Vrij. Not a clone, not a copy of, not a one for the future might get there. He wants that person. So do I think we may get the few players that Conte wants in? Yes, I do. Yes, I actually do. It's just how long is it going to take to get them in? And will it just avoid all this nonsense?
I'm also worried. Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Jack. What were you about to add?
No, I was just going to add quickly. Like, I'm worried, Brian, that like 4 out of 6 of those players would be what Conte wants. 2 of those would be like a Joe Rodon, sort of signing where it's just kind of like, what do we do with this, sort of player? Like, I don't know what to make of this. I'm a bit worried about that as well. Continue.
That coined into so when people said to me, what do you deem as a successful summer for Spurs? Right. I was like, literally, players out that Conte wants out and play, and as many as he wants in. But I would deem success. And you said 4 out of 6. To me, that's success because it's over 50%. So if 4 out of those 6 come in, he's kind of, if you know what I mean, he statistically, mathematically, he's got what he wants. Do I see us getting 6 for 6 that Conte ideally wants? No. Do I think a majority? Wow. Yes.
That's very realistic, Brian, to be honest.
If that's what we get. Now, the answer to the question is, will we be if we get what we get, the way I looked at it when we got Conte is I thought this summer, or this season, sorry, because he came in November and it all depended on January, blah, blah, I thought top 4 might be a push too far. I thought 5th and a real late push for it will be a test. And then I said next season, if he's there, top 4, not a target. It's a guarantee, so to speak, in like that's what Conte delivers. And then the season after that, if he extends, I expect a title challenge. And when I say title challenge, I don't mean going toe-to-toe with Liverpool and Man City right till the end of the season. I mean like we did with Chelsea and Leicester and really, really, really putting the pressure on. So it's like a 3-horse race until we gradually can't keep up with the pace. So do I think if Conte gets his way today, do I think we can challenge Manchester City and Liverpool? I think we could push them, but I think when we get to like the January, February and so forth, then I think we might just tail off. I think we can't go from just trying to get into the top 4 to, we're up there with Liverpool, Man City. And anyone that thinks we can, that's just like putting 2 and 2 together, coming up with 28. But do I think we can make it not so much as a so obvious 2-horse race if Conte gets what he wants? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think we would get 3rd. I think we could get ahead of Chelsea and everything they're going through. So who knows? Who knows? But I reckon if he's there the season after that, then we could be. And if he's backed the way I think he can be backed, then we will see. Then it's possible.
I mean, to be honest, I really actually thought that was quite realistic and level-headed of you, Brian, to say that 4 out of 6 is. Oh no! I thought with your transfer,
shocked,
like I did not expect you to say that you'd be happy with 4 out of 6. I did not expect you to say you'd be happy with 4 out of 6.
Like I said, let's say we got a De Vrij, a Dumfries.
I don't know if I'd be happy with 4 out of 6. So I was actually.
Do you know what? Just to get 4 out of 6, because Conte doesn't demand the big, like I said, the A-list players or they're doable. Look, I said as well when we got Jose Mourinho, the one thing that I think happened, and this is just a theory, is if you look at it with all the other managers, we've made transfer sagas last all summer with $1 million here or 2, well, whatever it is.
That's still going to happen this summer.
And I think when Mourinho came in, I think he may have had a discussion with Levy and said, right, and Levy would have blatantly said, well, you're not getting 200, 300, 400 million, whatever you got at Chelsea, Madrid, whatever. And I think Jose may have said, all right, I can understand that. But during this summer, if I identify a player, you go and get him. There's no haggling. There's no ifs. There's no buts. You go get him. And if we look at it, Matt Doherty, we didn't even see coming. It was like, okay, he's signing tomorrow. It happened with Joe Hart. It happened with Reguilon and Bell. All right, that took a few days, but normally that would take 6-7 weeks under Levy. All the deals under Mourinho happen like that. If you look at the history of Spurs and their transfer dealings, so I reckon Conte is going to be like that as well. Say, right, I understand whatever money's there, but if I find the way to allocate it, I don't want any. Oh yeah, they've rise at 15 million. Okay, offer 10 and then 3 with instalments and so. Go offer 15 fucking mil, get him in, and done. And that's what I think will happen this summer. Hopefully.
Yeah. I think what we know for certain is the one signing that we know is a Conte signing for certain is when we see that Ashley Young rumor, come through this summer. That's what we know is the one Conte signing, if anything, because that guy has prolonged Ashley Young's career, honestly, somehow and miraculously. But Sean, do you think with the summer window just goes absolutely perfectly, could we in fact challenge debatably the 2 best teams on the planet, as someone put earlier?
No, I think personally, I think we need. It'll take me 2 seconds. I think we need 2 centre backs in, 2 centre backs out. So we keep Dyer and Davies and remove Rodon and Sanchez or whatever. Yeah. I think we need 2 centre midfielders in, 1 out. Obviously Winks, and that's not including Pape Sarr. I think we need 1 left back in, 1 out, 1 right back in, 1 out, 1 forward in, and then maybe 1 out, Lucas or Bergwijn, and 1 goalkeeper in, and then return Galini on loan. So that's 8 in, 6 out. Is that right? Yeah. So a net 2 gain in terms of squad numbers, but ultimately 6 better players, and you drop the first team players down that are left over to the squad, to the subs, and then you improve your first team players. If we can do that, I don't think we could get 8 players in. I think we probably could get 6 in. Unlike Brian, I think we could get 6. I don't think we'll get 8. But if we could get 8, we'll close the gap massively on Man City and Liverpool, but we will not catch them. I think they're just. I think it's too much too soon. I think we could. I think what Brian said was right. I think we could overlap or leapfrog Chelsea. But I think Man City and Liverpool are probably they're a little bit too far ahead right now. So I think again I agree with Brian next season. But I do think if you can't get all 8 of those signings done in the summer, get 5 or 6 of them done, and then keep your powder dry a little bit for January, and then try and finish off.
Just want to come in what you said on there as well. What I think is vital with this summer as well, but we have to remember, is it's a World Cup year. So if there's players that Conte has seen that are on the way up, not a De Vrij, but let's say a player that's reaching the peak of his career, whatever. They go to the World Cup, and you wait till January.
Yeah.
They should have a blinding World Cup.
Yeah, no, I know.
And then their value goes. So I think this summer, this is why this summer, when we're saying the 6 being possible, is everything's got to be done this summer, because the players you may be going for might be World Cup players, or might be even players that play for a nationality that there could be one player, it's the biggest shop window in the world. If a team, let's just say a Ghana, a Mexico, a Canada, there's a guy I love who's played in the Belgian or French league, Belgian league, Buchanan, who is going to be a star. Is going to be an absolute star, and if he smashes it in the World Cup, that unknown player in the Belgian league becomes like a 40-50 million pound player. So if there's players that are regular internationals, they have to get done.
It also works the other way as well, though. If big teams collapse in the World Cup, if they have shockers, the price tag can come down as well. Take your point, though. I'd rather not have to wait till January, but I just feel like there's probably always going to be a little bit of residue. Maybe we sign a couple of players that didn't work out. Maybe there's an injury, whatever. So January, I want us to maybe, if necessary, have a little bit of powder left to be able to fire within January if necessary. Yeah. But if we can get 6 of those 8 positions that I've just called out in, and also get rid of the 6 players or 4 of the 6 out that we'd like to, then I think we've got a real chance of closing the gap.
Well, with that answer then, Dave, which Sean just gave, that sounds pretty ridiculous to get 8 players in, or 6 players in, 8 players out, or 8 players in, 6 players out.
8 in, 6 out in terms of positions.
8 in, 6 out. Like, Dave, to do that all in one window. I mean, I know Paratici's cooking and cleaning at the same time, with 8 different arms, but I don't know if he can do that. And that makes me think that the answer really is you can't challenge Liverpool and Man City after one good summer.
Well, I wouldn't write it off, Jack. Look, he brought in 5 last summer, although Papa Marçal was sent out on loan, and he shifted out, nearly 10? I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Paratici knows.
He's also hiring a number 2 right now, isn't he?
Yeah,
Paratici's hiring his right-hand man, maybe so he can double down and do a little bit of, 2 of them cooking.
I think 8 out is realistic. Look, Cameron Carter-Vickers will be sold for for in and around 10 million. You've got Ndombele to be sold, the Celso to be sold. You've got Winks, Sanchez, Rodin. There's already 6, and I definitely potentially could be listening to 4 offers for either Lucas or a Bergwijn. There's 7.
And Galini's one of them, and he's just going back anyway. So
yeah. But then players, in terms of players coming in, look, it's definitely achievable to bring in 6 or 8. I mean, look, it's about bringing in the right players. Now, if we want to challenge, I believe if we got in 6 players and all 6 of them came in and done well, but we also gave them the best chance to do well by bringing them in before preseason starts, so they actually have preseason to gel with the teammates. They have preseason to understand the tactics and get up to speed with the teammates. I think we can definitely mount a challenge, but I think we will fall short in the end. But there's no reason why mounting that challenge can't give the team confidence to go and pick up a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup along the way. Now, where I do think is where we can't catch them is the season after. And the reason why I think it's doable is because, look, under Jose Mourinho, we had that fraud Steve Hitchen. Look, at the end of the day, the guy was given over 300 million to spend, and he spent it completely wrong. Spent it just wrong, brought in average Joes. Whereas Paratici, you look at his last 3 signings, I think have been good signings. Romero, going to be world-class. Don't care what anybody tells me, he's world-class. You've got Bentancur come in and changed the fortune since he's come in. Same as Kulusevski up until the last 2 games, like Bentancur. But until then, they've completely transformed the way we were playing and some of the chances and that and the goals we were scoring and the chances we were creating. So, and look, even the Galini one, I mean, look, that guy was brought in. We didn't know whether Hugo Lloris was going to commit and sign a new contract. So I have no problem coming in because it just means we were never going to be left in the market with no number 1 and they could not extort us. Oh, you want this average keeper, we're going to charge you 40 million. You know what I mean? So there was none of that. So I think we got a shrewd operator in Paratici. I know a lot of people have their qualms about this guy, but I think in the long run, I think you will see a lot more return for the money that we do invest on them than what we did under Steve Hitchen. And I just think now we have to bring in the players that Conte has identified and the positions he's identified and get the players to come in. I mean, look, you can get a Jed Spence for what, 15, 20 million? The guy will come in and he'll do well. He's had a terrific season.
Might be going to United now.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. Tottenham would be a better option for him to come. But look, there's players there that we can do. And what gives me that inspiration, I wouldn't say inspiration is probably the wrong word, but the reason why I say this is because you go through that Liverpool team, right? And you even just start off the back line. Virgil van Dijk, Southampton, Joe Gomez, Charlton, Robertson, Hull, Samiskas from some not a great name club. Olympiacos. Trent Alexander-Arnold from the academy. Joel Matip didn't come from the best club in Germany, I believe. You got Fabinho from Monaco. Okay, Thiago Alcantara came from Bayern Munich. But the rest of the players that they built from not spending absolute massive amounts of money, but getting the signings right, allowed them to be able to go after a Thiago Alcantara and get the deal done. They brought in a James Milner who was maybe aging, but at the end of the day, he still had a lot to offer to the likes of Joe Gomez and Robertson and people like that who are coming from lower clubs. He has that know-how, to been there, to done it, the experience, what it takes, the way you have to live every day, the way you have to train every day to be able to win things. I think it's important we get somebody in like that. Jordan Henderson, Sunderland, Chamberlain from the Filth, Naby Keita, Leipzig, Curtis Jones, the Academy, Firmino, Hoffenheim, Mane, Southampton, Salah, can't remember where he was, Jota, Wolves, Divock Origi, Lille. Most of their players in their squad have had their parts to play, and they're not all from massive clubs, bar Thiago Alcantara. So there is a way to do it, but it's about doing it right and doing it the manager's way. And the reason why Liverpool have been able to do it is because no matter what Klopp went through in the first couple of years, they stuck by him and brought in the players to eventually build to what they have now, and they've done it methodically, and that's a big word for me, and they've done it smartly. So therefore, there are ways to do it without having to have the money, the likes of City and the likes of that. So there's a way to do it, and that's the blueprint.
Methodical use of methodically, Dave. Very well done. And also, as well,
You know
what?
I'm not surprised he found an optimistic answer. You know, we were all given the very realistic, you know, believe me, there's no chance we can challenge them after only one summer. But Dave somehow found a way to craft a very optimistic answer. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I have to say, with all these big words being used, it's time for me to bow out before I try and use them and come off with them really, really badly. So listen, guys, it's always a pleasure being on this channel. It's always a pleasure spending time with you guys. I am off right now because Bob Spur is doing his In the Wall. But yeah, that's a new one, Sean. I best get back to my six pack. So Bob Spur and a lot of the YouTubers have gone out to celebrate three people's birthdays. So myself and Mari from the Love Lounge will be hosting In the Wall. And we all know, God knows what's going to go on that show. There's going to be a few things going on. Craziness is guaranteed.
I'm supposed to be joining you, aren't
I? When you can.
And then end off.
When you can. So, yeah, I will say big up to, first of all, the diamonds in the house. I've seen her, my lovely Sue Smith, who I love more than life itself, having never met her. There she is. So, yeah, I have to do that. It's a ritual for me. That's even better. This is why I love this woman. And I will always say, listen, 2-1 for Tottenham tomorrow. If we don't win, David saw me go a little bit nuclear on the fan show. After Brentford. Well, put it this way: if we don't pick up a win, that's going to feel like I was introducing you to my parents for the first time, to the levels I will be going on We Are Tottenham TV tomorrow. But I will say, have a great weekend, everyone. Come on, Spurs, let's beat Leicester. And as always, Levy out.
Big up, there you go.
Big
up, there you go.
Guys, what a sign off.
We will be ending off before the In the Wall starts. We're just going to run through our customary extra time because Sean will be heading over there as well. And I will be posting a link in the chat for you to then click on the link and get over there if you want more content. But look, Jack, I suppose we'll take on extra time.
Let's take on extra time nice and quickly. How much would you be willing to sell Højbjerg for? This is kind of in reference, Sean, to the fact that David Moyes was asked, how much is, Declan Rice worth to you? He's at 150 mil. How much is Ruben Neves worth to Bruno Lage? 100 mil. How much is Højbjerg worth to you, Sean? Is he worth 10
I had this chat.
Is he worth, 50 million? What's he worth to you?
No, I had this chat earlier. I've actually got I think if there's any truth to Newcastle wanting to pay 30, if you could get 35 for him, right, I think you let him go, because I think then you could probably do a deal with Villarreal where you give them Lo Celso and 20 million or 15 million and try and get Pau Torres, right, at the left-sided centre-back. And then with the 20 million you got left over, you can go and buy Konrad Laimer from Leipzig. And I think then you've got a player in Konrad Laimer that's quite similar to Højbjerg in as much as the combative, aggressive kind of, but sort of playmaker, bit more mobile, and a great player. And he would cost a lot less than Højbjerg. So I think he would anyway. That's the rumours. You can probably get him for 22 million. So I think you could do that. And if you could get 35, I think price. 35 if you could then put it to work in the way I just said it, because then you could fill a gap. You could be net. You could be got rid of Lo Celso. You've got a player in Pau Torres who's a monster at left-sided centre back. And then you've got Konrad Laimer. So your net, you've already sold two of the positions and you haven't really spent any money at all. Perfect.
Yeah,
that's my money. 35 million.
Strategy. I hope you're listening. Yeah,
that's what I would do.
To be honest, take some notes there. Dave, how much is Højbjerg worth to you?
Look, my baby's priceless. Bit like MasterCard, lad. I can't put a price on some things. No, look, for me, everyone has their price. I think 35, 40 million would be a very good deal for Højbjerg. I think that would be the max value he'll probably get throughout his career. I would take it if we had another enforcer like Højbjerg. I do think...
Yeah, you have to replace him right away. You can't not...
No, we do, because we're going to go to the same situation where we were under Endom Lardas. We've got amazing talent in midfield, but you don't have the steel and teams just overrun you. You have to have a player like him.
Yeah,
I definitely take... I think 35 to 40 million would be a very good deal, to be honest with you. I would do everything in my power to get him there and take that 40 million. Not that I don't think he's a good player. I think everyone knows my opinions on Højbjerg.
Yeah.
But, every player has their ceiling, and I think 40 million would be a very good deal.
It's just coming from, Højbjerg's biggest fan, if not second biggest fan. He's plenty replaceable. I'm not delusional and would say that he isn't replaceable. I would say 30 to 35 million. No, not 30. I think 30 is still too low. Not enough. I would say 35 to 40 million is what I would accept, because I think then you're just getting way more money than Højbjerg's really worth. And then you're also, like Sean was saying, you can spend that wisely and end up actually getting better players at the end of the day out of it. So that would be my answer. And it's painful for me to put it that way, but 35 to 40 million.
And I wish him all the luck in the world, picking up £250,000 a week at Newcastle, whatever we get. Good luck to you, Pierre. Thanks for your service, buddy. Go and enjoy your time in Newcastle.
Enjoy the paychecks. Yeah, it helped pay for the kids' college education in the future. Which player would you take from any of the relegation candidates for next season? So you could include Burnley and Everton, in here. I think you can maybe throw in another one if you wanted, but any player out there of the relegation candidates that you would take? I'll go first. Emmanuel Dennis is who I would take. I think he's been I made a case with Darius on flatcapeurotalk. I think you could actually make an argument he's been the second best striker in the Premier League this season, because he's been playing for Watford, who have had 3 different managers in this time space, and he's found a way to get 16 goal contributions for Watford. So I think that guy's been an absolute superstar. So I would go for Emmanuel Dennis. Maybe someone make a case for Richarlison. Maybe Calvert-Lewin. I'd
go for Anthony Gordon from Everton.
Yeah,
I think he's a quite class player. I don't even know what the price tag would be on him, but I also think that Damari Gray, if he cost Everton $1.5 million, you could probably get him for like $8 million, and they'd be happy with the money. Because I think he's a class player. Just on on a value for money basis, I think he's class. I wouldn't pay a lot of money for him.
He could be a steal. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, look, Gordon would be my number one.
I look at it. Norwich, take nobody. Watford, I would definitely look at Ismail Sarr. I think he'd be and from what I hear about him, I heard on the Fozcast the other day, Ben Foster does a podcast, and I like the way this guy lives his life. And apparently he's very, very dedicated as well. He's no attitude problems, and you can see that it reflects in his performances on the pitch. I think he'd be a brilliant player for Tottenham to get. He causes some big teams some trouble. He caused Liverpool trouble, United trouble this season. I go into Leeds. I wouldn't take anybody. Burnley, maybe Dwight McNeil, but I would agree with Sean.
Would you take Weghorst as maybe the backup number 9?
Yeah, I'd take Weghorst. I agree with Sean. I would definitely take Anthony Gordon off Everton. I think he'll turn into a very good player. I think he's already a good player. I like what he's about. I would definitely stake a case for Richarlison, but the one I would love most, and I'm going to put Southampton in a relegation battle, even though they're not, is Ward-Prowse.
Wow. There you are. Definitely not getting a cut price on him, though. Definitely not getting a cut price. That's for sure. Like David, he looked at all the clearance items, all the things up for sale, decided to, reach for, thing that wasn't on for sale at all. I love it. Absolutely love it. This one's going to be fun. Which player has spent the most on the barber this year? You probably could have said Dele Alli, maybe before you left.
I would say,
is Harry Kane really paying the personal barber that much? Maybe he's getting a cut price, Dave. Maybe it's like Emerson that's paying the most, or
I don't know, Jack. I don't know. When you're getting haircuts like Harry, I mean, they don't come cheaply, Jack. I mean, there's more.
Frequency comes into mind here, though. Frequency. How frequent are the haircuts? Some of them get it. I think Kai Havertz said he gets his haircut every week or every 2 weeks or something.
I would definitely say someone like an Ali or an Emerson, though, Jack, because dyeing your hair and doing all the bits and pieces they do, it does cost a bit more. So I would say one of them.
I think it's Dele Alli. I don't, even with like at the moment Dele Alli left the club, have the haircuts that have happened for other players since then caught up to Dele Alli's haircut total? I'm actually not. I don't think so. Actually. But then again, though, like Dele Alli's been growing out the hair. So has he really been getting haircuts? He's been getting just the dyes. So
expensive though, Jack.
I think maybe it is Big H. I think it is Big H. I bet Big H or Emerson. Because Emerson, he never grows it out or anything. So maybe it is Emerson or Big H is what I would go for. That's what I would say. Sonny, though. Sonny always has nice hair.
Is it just the Premier League? Is it just the Premier League we're looking at?
No, just Spurs. Just Spurs.
Oh, just for Spurs. Oh, well,
Yeah, just Spurs players. Which Spurs player do you think has spent the most? We said Dele Alli because he was formerly of the squad.
Yeah, no, it's got to be. I think Harry Kane these days. He never goes a day without getting it. Especially that little receding hairline that he encourages with the V, with the little shade down here. What are you doing, Harry? You don't accentuate the receding hairline, bro. You try and
that most recent one was a big mess. The most recent one was a big mess. Definitely fell off there. Last one. Yeah.
I was just going to say, just quickly, I was actually thinking about getting that line, Sean, because, when my hair is cut, I'm starting to recede slightly, right? And when I look at Harry's, it takes away from the receding hairline on that side. So
it doesn't take away. It draws your attention to it. It doesn't take away.
You can't find a flaw in him, even when it's right in front of him, even when the hairline's right in front of him.
Yeah, okay.
Not a hair out of place in David's eyes. Not a hair out of place.
He's perfect.
Which player is the biggest teacher's pet in the whole squad? We've accused Winks of this. I think it is a very obvious Højbjerg for this one. I mean, the guy is probably bringing, Conte and Stellini espressos, in the morning, just saying, oh, guys, I just found these on the way over. He's probably there 20, 30 minutes. Probably there 20, 30 minutes early. Probably, brings Conte a birthday card on his birthday. Is also, collect. I think I've even heard, I saw in The Athletic, Højbjerg is the one that collects all the bibs, and everything at the end of practice as well. He's one of those guys too, so that he can get an extra word in with the coach, apparently at the end of games. But anybody want to make a case for someone that isn't Højbjerg is the biggest teacher's pet? You could say Moon Boots. Moon Boots has always found a way into that squad.
I think it's Winksy. There's no way that Winksy doesn't turn up with the apple that's on Conte's desk.
Winksy's out there,
or even with the other managers in the past, even the other managers.
To open the door.
He's clear as day. There's no way he's got away with his career at Tottenham for this long without doing some side gigs, side hustles, whatever it takes. Whatever he's doing to keep old Conte or Mourinho before him happy.
Strikes me as the guy that kind of just randomly walks through the office department, stops for a chat, walks in Daniel Levy. I was just going for lunch and, I was just wondering, do you want to grab a bite to eat? Stands there at 8:30 in the morning waiting for Conte to arrive at the parking spot to open the door, carries his bags, his suit, his extra suit. He does strike me as that type of guy. From what I hear, he is a right brown noser, to be honest with you. But I also hear, and I've also heard, I'm not sure whether it was Mourinho or Conte or players, but they said that this guy is so nosy, like he's always over there when coaches and managers are talking about tactics and everything else. He's always over there. And then if anyone's listening to the Peter Crouch podcast and they know who Parched is, you'll get what I'm saying by someone that's always constantly making sure they're drinking their water over with the management and the coaches and stuff like that. Yeah. And from what I hear, Højbjerg is that guy. But look, I agree with Sean. I mean, it's got to be Harry. I mean, I just know it is. He probably sits there and blow dries Harry Kane's hair after the shower just to be in with him. I mean, I
guess two different goals from being a teacher's pet. Harry Winks, it's for survival. Højbjerg, it's to be the best, right? For Højbjerg, it's to be the best. For Harry Winks, it's to survive, so it's definitely two different mentalities there.
He definitely hangs behind her, picks up all the cones. Gets the cones after training. Don't worry, I'll do it, boss. I'll do it, gaffer.
Højbjerg is sprinting. He's sprinting to pick up the cones.
Winks already has them picked up.
They're fighting over who gets to do the cones today. You did it yesterday.
That was a good one.
All right, but everybody, that is the end of Can It Can't Me. About to put in the link to Bob Spurs' stream where they are running the In the Wall with Brian, as well as others. I think I saw Kuba in there as well.
Yeah, Kuba's on.
Yep. But here it is, everybody. Here's the link to the In the Wall stream. Send them a big raid. Hashtag Harris Army. Hashtag, the Don Harris sent you. Hashtag whatever it may be. But everybody, do hit that like button on your way out. Really have enjoyed this show. I think some really good answers, really good discussions. Maybe as well, if you really have enjoyed these sort of discussion shows as well, grab that membership. Why not support the channel as well? But Dave, passing it off to you.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just throwing Sean and Jack's link in here as well, guys. The reason why as well is because not only have they participated, but Sean is very close to 1,000. Now, I know we picked up a couple of new subscribers today, so if that means we did, it means they should go over to Sean, and Sean should as well. He's so close to the 1,000. So please get over there and help the guy get there. And then for the Flat Cap Your Talk, slightly different request to everybody here. So it's already over 1,000, but we just need a few watch hours. So if you're bored and you want to find out who Wilfred Singo is, who we're linked with, you want to find out what Tottenham should be doing this summer, the interest in Denfrill Dumfries and stuff like that. And basically, we've been talking transfers and what we need to do. So if you want to go to a place where you can find all of that, it is over here at the Flat Cap, guys. This is Jack's channel. And we just need basically just to watch a couple of videos, a slight different request. If you have enough after watching the videos and helping us out and smashing that subscribe, that would be awesome. I see a lot of people in the chat saying, great show today. They really have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it too. I think it's been a good laugh, but also a very good discussion, I thought. But look, Sean, anything you want to say before we let you go, my man?
No, just, despite all the things that have been said back and forth and stuff, it's super important that Conte is more flexible, Dave. Guys, I've had a great time with you. Thanks for having me, and everyone in the chat, thanks for stopping by and spending the evening with us so far. And if anyone hasn't hit the subscribers for both, all three channels, then please do. And I'd love to get to 1,000 as quickly as possible, because if it happens on the next show I'm on, then I've got to do some sort of forfeit. So in fact, hold off your subscribers until maybe like a couple of days time, because I don't want to close the gap too much now.
Get to 990 and stop. Get to 990 stop there. Stop right before the red light. I love it. Just quickly, Dave, Vince Vega celebrating 7 months, saying, just checking in, guys. Hope you're well. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Vince. Absolute legend. Been here for a very, very long time as well. Absolute goat.
Big up, Vince, and hopefully we see you for match day. He loves match day. He lives it up. He laps it up, so hopefully we see him. Guys, we will be back here tomorrow around starting at 10:30 for the pre-match build-up. We're going to have a good panel, good discussions, guys, and then the watch-along as well is what you can expect from us here tomorrow. And apart from that, guys, Bob Spurs link is there. Get over there and support the channel. Daigle is hosting. Sean will be there. There's Kuva there. Maori there. Like I said, don't forget, sub to Sean's channel. Watch some of the Flat Cap Euro videos. And guys, if you have enough, like and subscribe on this video as well. And as always, get your comments in underneath. As some people will attest, I've been very good the last week to responding. So do actually comment, and I will get back to you. And we'll see you all back here tomorrow. Stay safe. As always, come on, you Spurs. In continent trust. I'm off to Manscaped. I'm that pumped up. And if you're jealous, get over to Manscaped and get the tools for the job. See you all tomorrow.
Love it. Come on, you Spurs.